championship has been captured by the Indiana Pacers.
Jimmy throws it, Quest. He wins the 110th running of the Indianapolis 500-mile race.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Well, another gorgeous start here to this Thursday morning in Indianapolis. Seems like we'll get this weather here for the next day or so. Maybe a little warmer for the Brickyard 400. Coming up on Sunday, and speaking of warm, that was a hot offensive clinic last night from the Indiana Fever. Their potency on full display as now they head to the All-Star break, riding easily their best stretch of this season. Good morning, gentlemen. I'm Kevin Bowen, James Boyd, Mark Dykton. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. I was a little, Nelly Bowen, a little fussy this morning. Had to kind of scramble at the bottle. I needed to catch a few lights, and I probably needed to go a little faster than normal. So thank you to the lights for cooperating. Thank you for the popo for not spotting me. But I'm here.
You made it. You and James kind of walked in simultaneously, which is rare.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not going to lie. When I saw KV pulling in the parking lot at the same time as me, I was thinking, is everything okay?
Yeah, it's one of those, like, you just kind of naturally have a little bit of, like, I didn't work out this morning, to be abundantly clear to you, gentlemen, but, yeah, I'm a little bit, like, juiced up just that way, like, oh, boy, am I going to get there on time?
I was going through my email. I'm like, there's not a remote I'm forgetting about today, am I?
You know what gives me that sort of juice, Kevin? And it'll happen. It happens every year. Whenever a Colts game ends, we have to get down that elevator to the press conference. For those who are listening, the elevator can sometimes it gets crowded very often. The first people to go down are always the assistant coaches that are in the press box. Then right after that, it's us. But fans are allowed to get into the elevator. There are employees in the elevator. There's a few stops along the way. So, yeah, sometimes if I'm in like that second batch getting down, I'm hitting the jog or a sprint to make sure I'm not missing Shane Steichen or Daniel Jones.
Well, and you might need to get the elbows a little sharpened too, because sometimes you might want to alert the people when the door's open. There's no room. There's no room at the end here.
And hey, I actually have to be somewhere after this. You get to go home, but you try to remember that the job is a privilege. But nevertheless, I'm looking forward to the adrenaline that we have, especially this time next week when we're out there in Grand Park.
We will. Again, just a couple of shows left for us here in studio before we hit a stretch, as James said, in Westfield Tuesday through Friday next week. Today, looking forward to chatting with Alex Golden coming up at 9 o'clock. Chad Buchanan, Pacers GM, you obviously hear him on with JMV a good amount. It's the first time I think him or Kevin Pritchard or even Rick Carlisle have spoken on the record about the offseason so far. It was a long interview with Alex, so a couple takeaways from that. We'll chat with Alex Golden coming up at 9. We did kind of the IU foreign tour yesterday with Jeff Rabjohns. Purdue heads out tomorrow. Alan Karpik going to join us here. And he is our perennial earliest guest in the history of this show, Mark Dykton. Has he ever not been in the 7:30 segment?
I don't think so. I mean, I leave it wide open. I say, when would you like to come on? He said 7:40 question mark. I'm like, sure.
Gosh.
No problem.
I've been up for 2 hours at this point. A lot of Colts items to get to. But, James, last night, that was really from the opening, right out of the gate. Caitlin Clark was outstanding in the first quarter. Her all-star compadres were great as well. I mean, that was just it's about as flawless as an offensive night as you are going to see. It was pretty breathtaking, honestly, to watch just how efficient and really chemistry, shooting the ball. I mean, everything, and all the records that you see from last night follow suit.
Yeah, Caitlin set the tone there early, nailing her first 5 threes of the game. I checked the box score at one point. She had 17 points in 9 minutes. Just an incredible stretch of shooting to start that one, and kind of led the way for this team that scored 123, new franchise record, which they set earlier this year, and points blew past it. I think the previous record was 114. They get to 123 in regulation, and I thought that not only was Caitlin pretty special, as you mentioned, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, just pick whoever you wanted to. You could have gave the game ball to, because they were that great as a trio. And quietly, this team has won 5 of their last 6. I was checking the standings last night, Kevin. So they are now in 5th place in the playoff standings, one game back of fourth place, which would obviously be home court advantage because the top 4 teams of an 8-team playoff bracket get the home court advantage in the first round. So the only thing, though, and we'll get into it, Kevin, the only damper on the night was Caitlin getting a double tech, which now brings her to 7 on the season. 8 gets you suspended. And I will say the tone was a little bit different last night than Monday when she just said no about not changing her behavior.
I'm sitting there last night and I'm thinking to myself, okay, when can I maybe close the book on the Fever for the night? When nothing against the likes of whatever. Grace, what's her name? Van Sleuth.
Yeah, I always mess up the last names.
When some of those I was
Sluten.
I was going to say Raven Johnson, but she was out last night due to injury. But when some of those get in the game, that's kind of probably when I start to. It's a little bit more background noise for me, I guess, as I finish off some show prep. But I'm sitting there watching rather intently a 30-point game, and even Maddie said to me like, "Oh wow, this game is over." I'm like, "Yeah, but I just gotta wait to see whenever Caitlin exits." And I say that in all seriousness because of the technicals.
No, I'm laughing because I agree.
And 5 minutes earlier in the game, she was involved in kind of a post whistle, one of these where
I thought they were trying to bait her on that one.
Yeah, Diamond Miller kind of reached in post whistle. Caitlin didn't like it. Diamond Miller got teed up. Nothing extracurricular after that. And then sure enough, late in the third quarter, I think it was something similar, not with Diamond Miller, but a little bit kind of post whistle. I didn't think it was anything too extreme. And the next thing you know, Caitlin Clark is uttering some sort of phrase about the scoreboard. There might have been an adjective in there about the scoreboard as well.
The bleeping scoreboard.
And boom, double tech. It just, it's like you bring home the report card and you're like, look, Mom, Dad, here I am, high honor roll. And like they're just kind of looking at you like, wait, is there something? Oh yeah. But I also threw a dodgeball off of Zach Stayer's head once recess got over and I am in school suspension for the next week.
Seems oddly specific, Kevin.
Yeah. Might have happened back at Clay Junior High back in the day. But it has one of those feels to it. Like, last night was incredible. I mean, we can list off all the things. And, like, you watched the Fever play basketball last night, and you're like, that is a championship type of team.
Yeah.
And then you have that just little sour taste. One game away now from a suspension. And just to remind everybody, once you get to 8, every 2 games after that, it's a suspension. Yeah, I guess the tone was a little different after the game. I don't know. There was part of me that thought it was a little bit too maybe jovial.
Yeah, or too nonchalant.
Yeah,
the right word?
That's the much better word.
Yeah. Honestly, the way she answered my questions about it, and even Stephanie White, my interpretation, Kevin, and feel free to weigh in as well, was this is going to happen. And we'll just have to deal with it when it comes.
Yes, okay. But is it going to happen multiple times?
That's a good question because I had to do the math yesterday.
Because she's on pace to be suspended for 3 games. If she continues this pace of technical fouls, she will have 12 by the end of the year. That would be 3 games you are suspended for.
Yeah.
I mean, you just read off the standings.
You're in a dogfight for trying to get home court advantage. And the back half of their schedule is kind of tough. If you look at like the second half of their schedule, they still have not played the Minnesota Lynx this year. I think they got to see Dallas again. And
yeah, you go out west to start, then you have Vegas. That's the first game back. Like you said, you haven't seen Minnesota there. So yeah, it just boy, there's so much good, but you can't ignore that either. Which, to me, I think is kind of a frustrating element if I were Stephanie White and company about last night. But impressive on the floor from Caitlin Clark, certainly. Kelsey Mitchell, Leah Boston, the All-Stars, they were not looking ahead whatsoever. So All-Star break here. They set the franchise record for points scored with 4 minutes left in the game. All 10 Fever players who played scored in said game. Mark Dykton, you're allergic to the Green Bay Packers. How are you doing on this Thursday morning?
I am. That's worse than the lettuce outbreak.
Are we done with the lettuce outbreak? Have you had Taco Bell a few more times?
No, I've only had it the one time so far, but all good. All systems were go, so no issues there. But no, good day. Watched the Fever dominate. Went to the Hendricks County Fair with the girls yesterday.
Let's
So
go.
and I love myself a good fair. I love all the fried foods that we're deciding to dip into, vats of grease and everything like that. That's very exciting.
Okay, so what was the best thing you had? Because I too love me a fair. And I feel like you just got to go, not think of the calories or the health. You got to think about the enjoyment of your life and how maybe that will elongate it. You got to be able to enjoy what you eat from time to time. So what were you diving into?
The milkshake was very good. Chocolate milkshake was very good, but then we also did a barbecue brisket burger. So it was like a burger patty with cheese and like grilled onions and then like pulled pork on top of it. Ooh, that was very good.
Say no more on that.
Yeah, I was going to say you were eating good in the neighborhood.
I know.
Man,
it was
Mark
delicious.
Dykton. I like that. We're a couple weeks away from the state fair
I know.
getting underway. Looking forward to seeing what our dairy bar milkshake is going to be here for 2026. I actually was trying to look at some dates, trying to match them up with some Colts training camp dates to take the family out there. So cannot wait for that. Dave has me laughing early on the text line. Caitlin's report card doesn't play well with others.
That's actually pretty funny.
Trying to think of like what the generic phrases were of like,
I used to get like what was it?
like when you talk too much.
I used to get that one a lot.
But it
as
didn't
you can
say just
imagine.
like it sounded like Roy McIlroy saying to Bryson DeChambeau like I don't like you, but it a
Yeah.
little bit more politically correct on the older report card there.
Well, my mom had this rule, and shout out to my parents. They did a great job when it came to our education. But she had this rule of, did you get a good B or a bad B or a good A or a bad A or et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, if I got an A or a B, I did great in this class. I'm pretty smart. And she was like, no, did you get like a B where you could have gotten an A, you didn't really try? Or did you get an A, you didn't shut up while you got the A? So pretty strict in the Boyd household. And yeah, occasionally the report card would come, the grades would be good, but I'd be worried about everything else and what punishment might come from that.
Our Colts chatter today, I something I want to get into is, a big phrase Carly Ursay-Gordon had back in January, James, was, this season has got a higher sense of urgency. If we could take those words and we could define it a little bit more, we could expand on it, maybe we can add some sort of black and white, record, playoff appearance, division, however you want to label it to that. I that's something I do want to get into a little bit more here as the show moves along. So reminder, Alan Karpik will talk Purdue, a very new look Matt Painter bunch here this upcoming season. They are off to, I think it's Vancouver, coming up here for their foreign trip. And again, Alex Golden, he had a long chat on the Setting the Pace podcast with Pacers GM Chad Buchanan. Always enjoy hearing Chad talk, whether it's with John or I know he goes on with Alex a whole lot. So really the first, and boy, to say that Chad Buchanan poo-pooed the LeBron James thing would probably be an understatement on that. So, don't be getting your hopes up if you're clinging to any on the LeBron James.
But he still
front.
hasn't told us yet. No, not working.
Again, I probably am a little bit more of a LeBron guy than most in this market, but come on now. What are we waiting for?
Look, selfishly, he ain't coming here, so I would love a playoff matchup with LeBron's new team, if it is in the East.
Chad Buchanan said, send him west.
I mean, if I was in his shoes, I would be saying the same thing. But if he does not go west, if he comes back east, I need that playoff matchup.
Now, do you look at it? Maybe something we can get into a little bit later as the show moves along, but, to finally get over the proverbial hump, Peyton Manning and company had to dethrone Tom Brady and
That's
the
what I'm
Patriots.
saying.
Now, I don't think LeBron is still prime Patriots sort of player.
You got
but
prime hatred for him. That's all that matters.
that is certainly true. And I would say I believe it's now 6 emojis. Tyrese Halliburton clarified. He said he looked back at his phone and 6 laughing emojis from LeBron on that, which I think once you get to 6, do you go to line 2?
Yeah, I think you do. I don't even think it shows up as like a big message
Maybe they
anymore.
get smaller?
I think they get smaller, which just, rubs it in a little bit.
Yeah, that's some salt in the wounds right there. Plenty of salt in the wounds from the Fever towards the Connecticut Sun last night. It was a historic one inside of Gainbridge Fieldhouse. We'll hit on all the notes there and get you set for this very nice Thursday in Indianapolis. Kevin Bowen, James Boyd, and Mark Dykton, we got you covered right here. 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
Checkdown. Brought to you by Bet365 on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
All right, let's just go off the historical night that it was inside of Gamebridge Fieldhouse. And James, I'm sure I'm going to miss a few things here. It was a first half franchise record for points scored. That would have been 70 from the Fever last night. They got to 123, or they got to, I think it was 115 with 4 minutes to go in the game. That was a franchise record for a game. They ended up with 123. The 35-point win is the second biggest in franchise history. An absolute offensive clinic led by the trio of all-stars.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at Caitlin Clark, a healthy Caitlin Clark. I would add, had her minutes restriction lifted yesterday, but still didn't have to play very many of them. 27 minutes, 27 points, 11 assists, 5 threes to start the game. I mean, what more can you ask for besides getting a tech?
And it's it's funny there. Caitlin, well, that part isn't funny, but 27 and 11 for her, 23 for Kelsey Mitchell. That's now 11 straight over 20 for Kelsey Mitchell.
Franchise record.
Fourth longest in the history of the W, franchise record. 22 for Leah Boston. And none of them played a minute in the fourth quarter, right?
No. I know Caitlin didn't. I can go back and double check the rest.
I'm pretty sure they all were out.
But
by that point of the game there, it was just a beatdown. All 10 Fever that played scored. It reminded me, the first half reminded me a little bit of that Pacers-Cavs playoff game. You know, we've played that Mark Boyle audio, Mark Dykton before, you know, when Turner hits the three from Kokomo or whatever Boyle says. It had that
feel.
From
2 miles away.
Yeah, just such a great line there. So pretty impressive. Going in the All-Star break now for the Fever. They have won 3 straight, 5 of 6, and 17 and 10 as now things shift up to Chicago for those 3, Clark, Mitchell, and Boston. Major League Baseball last night, the impressive streak for the Boston Red Sox comes to an end, 15 in a row. For them, they lost their second game of a doubleheader. Mark, a little rough on the north side?
Not great. Not great at all. So disappointing end to the series against the Tigers. Time to get back to it after a day off today.
Cardinals small ball their way there, 1-0 with some pitching and some defense over the Angels. White Sox bounce back. Over the Rangers, Reds shockingly won a series. They beat the Mariners and the Indians, a second straight 2-1 victory for them over Lehigh Valley. The Brickyard 400 will commence coming up on Sunday, 2 o'clock. We had Doug Bowles on yesterday. He mentioned dirt track action coming up tonight, and there is action over at IMS Friday and Saturday. So if you're looking to head out there, you will get a little bit spread out here. And, you know, you mentioned Raceway Park and, you know, even up in Kokomo. I mean, it is a busy weekend surrounding what goes on there as we are back on the Oval for the 3rd straight year. Kyle Larson, Bubba Wallace, your last 2 winners over there at the Brickyard 400. Speaking of racing news, yesterday, Dreyer and Reinbold Racing, who, you know, again, I think we're familiar with them as the Indy 500 kind of one-off team, or in this year's case, 2-offs. I think it was Connor Daly and Jack Harvey this past year. But again, Indy 500 only entries. They have purchased one of the full-time charters from Rahal Letterman Racing. So that will bring the Rahal Letterman Racing team down to 2 full-time entries. And Dreyer and Reinbold, for the first time since 2012, they will be a full-time entrant into IndyCar. And of course, all of this is on the unfortunate heels of Dennis Reinbold passing away here recently. So his son Derek, you know, I think this has been thought of and, you know, rumored, and there was some hope that this would be occurring here, and it was announced yesterday. So Dreyer Reinbold, which has had, I think, pretty impressive Indy 500 success, considering it's their only race of the year, they will be back into IndyCar on a full-time basis for the first time since 2012. So love seeing that news. Really not a lot, unless you guys got anything else. I think IU plays their second game down in Peru tonight. I believe Jeff Rabjohn said it's the Virgin Islands representative, and he's not expecting much of a competitive effort from that one. Again, Purdue will head up to Canada here, and we'll chat with Alan Karpik on the other side about that. But that's about all I got.
I'm excited to talk to Alan just because I feel like we haven't really had someone on to give us an assessment on the other Pierce. A lot of discussion about Alec Pierce, but Caden Pierce now in the state of Indiana.
Yeah, it's funny. I was listening to Matt Painter earlier in the week. He's like, yeah, we have 7 returning players in the year 2010. 7 returning players would be notable. In the year 2026, it's the outlier. And yet all I hear from people is, who's going to start? Who's going to score? Like 7 returning players to what we're used to with Purdue is hardly anything.
Right.
And especially when you lose, obviously, not only the big 3, but again, Oscar Clough was obviously a key piece for them last season, and he is no longer. So we'll chat with Alan coming up on the other side. Reminder, Alex Golden at 9. He had a long conversation with Chad Buchanan on his podcast, the Pacers GM on the record for the first time, really this offseason, talking about everything that has happened to the Pacers. So looking forward to that at 9 o'clock. It is glorious outside. Mark Dykton, Skillow weather update.
We are tracking another beautiful day with partly cloudy skies and a high near 79 degrees this afternoon. And for tonight, mostly clear and quiet. Lows are going to fall into the upper 50s. I'm Fox 59 meteorologist Amber Hardwick for The Fan. We are tracking another beautiful day with
Galaxy Concrete Coatings, that is indoor and outdoor concrete, garages, patios, porches, sidewalks, all of that. Galaxy Concrete Coatings specializes in patios, probably one of their big things. Last night we ate out on the patio at the Bowen household. We love certainly getting outdoors this time of year. And the great thing about Galaxy Concrete Coatings is when we got work done from them, they were in and out in about 24 hours. So, not too much of a hassle whatsoever on our home. I mean, you could get something done here late-ish, or I guess later in the summer, and still enjoy it, particularly if you're going outdoors. And they also do indoor. Basement is something that they specialize in indoors as well, residential or workplace. So highly encourage you, head to their website. It's galaxyconcretecoatings.com. Again, that's indoor and outdoor concrete, garages, basements, patios, porches, and sidewalks. Contact them today, galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
The Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
I'll chat with Alan Carpet coming up about Purdue and their 4-2. Or Matt Painter and company heading up north of the border here this weekend, getting Indiana down in Peru, their second game tonight. So we did the IU side of it yesterday. We'll get Purdue going here today. Again, pretty historic last night from the Indiana Fever. They set a franchise record for points scored. That was with 4 minutes left in the game. So, I know there are some times where coaches are a little panicky the night before or the game before the All-Star break. Zero worry, really from the onset. And the All-Stars were the best part last night. Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, absolutely outstanding. Much more on that. We'll play Caitlin Clark's audio to her 7th technical. She's now 1 away from being suspended for a game. We'll play that upcoming for you. Did you guys have anything else lingering yesterday from our sports venue? What Indy needs sports-wise? Nick here added this morning. He goes, he specifically talked about Lafayette Square Mall sitting empty is a great location for some sort of indoor sport zone type building. We've had some of those on the west side. I've had some of those up in the Lawrence area, Incrediplex. I think of and that would make a whole lot of sense. Again, I said to you yesterday, James, to me, can you turn some of these abandoned strip malls into a 3-4 court basketball place?
Yeah.
So you're not necessarily, if you're a team in central Indiana, the south part of Indy, driving up to, Finch Creek or Pro Nets or Grand Park, that's a lot, I would think. So, yeah, those are probably a couple that pop into my head.
Can I throw this one at you, or at least this setup? So last year when I was down in Duval County, where the Colts can never win, Nathan Brown and I from Indy Star, we actually caught the Big Ten championship in football at ice hockey rink that had like a sports bar inside. I wasn't like obviously I'm not familiar with the territory. I was looking up places where we could watch a game, and we end up there, and I pull up, and I'm like, did I like Google the wrong place? Did I not know where I'm going? And so I walk in, and there's like a couple of like courts where there's some kids playing. They had a minor league game in the back, and like in the middle of this place, they have where you can get a bite to eat, grab a beer, and had a huge screen and watch the games.
In Florida. Wow.
And so I kind of like that setup where, if you're a parent or whatever, you could just grab a beer and sit down, watch your kid play minor league hockey, or have the game right next to you and get it all done in one sitting.
Hey, Max, don't get checked on the board. I got a couple IPAs to drink during practice.
I mean, it was a great setup. So I think if you want like a multi-purpose type of venue like that, that'd be pretty cool.
We did have a couple of people reach out for youth hockey yesterday on the text line, and just, ice time and skate time.
Yeah.
I mean, half jokingly, half seriously, Jim Irsay literally built a ice rink on his property.
Mm-hmm.
Part of that was because A, he's got a lot of money, and B, it's difficult to get ice time.
Is that not a part of the Max Bowen career path or stimulus pack?
Yeah, don't think that's going to be part of it there.
Duval.
I also love how he's a good coach now.
I was going to say he's really recovered from that.
Thank you, Coach Cohen.
Yeah, he balled out last year in his first year with some of the success and turnaround that he had.
Mark, any others you had kind of lingering from yesterday?
Not really. It was just stuff I guess, and stuff that not necessarily I would use, but just stuff I see that's kind of not like skate parks, like kids on skateboards and scooters and bikes. I don't see really too many skate parks around. And paintball, is that still a thing? I remember there's paintball fields all over the place when I was growing up, and I haven't seen that in forever. I would love to play some paintball again.
Yeah, the skate parks is a good one. I felt like when I was growing up, I saw a lot of that. Maybe it's just because some of my age group was kind of doing it, so maybe you're a little bit more inclined to some of those things.
KB, you couldn't have been on the skateboard that long, could you? I feel like tall people don't do a lot of skateboarding.
No. Tony Hawk and I are not overlapping.
One of one.
Yeah. Yeah, just to clear that up in case anyone was.
Mark, I like how he went straight to Tony Hawk.
I know. Mr.
Nobody else. It's like,
yeah.
that's like me saying, well, me and Tiger, nothing in common there. Of course.
Well, as long as you're not, acting like Tiger off the course, I think you're.
Fair enough.
You see Charlie Woods got a bit miffed that someone's camera went off when his backswing.
Well, did you guys catch that yesterday when I shared my nerd golf update? Shout out to Hudson Kutchma. I hope I'm saying that last name right. The hockey enforcer from Westfield on advancing through. I loved his Westfield pullover yesterday in the playoff. And then Eli Wessel from Guerin. Both of them got through in the playoff. That was Charlie Woods' playoff. I mean, that was the same playoff. 14 players for 2 spots. I mean, I think we all can understand that. 14 for 2. Those odds aren't great. And the 2 that got through were the 2 Indiana boys. So shout out to both of them up there.
Yeah, I'm
And
looking
yes,
at the video of this right now, though. Charlie was definitely hot.
he was pissed.
Boy.
He was pissed to say the least. So
A little bit of his dad in him right
I was
there.
going to say, he definitely looked like his father in reacting to that. And that is a monumental tournament for a junior golfer. And I can only imagine the reaction on that front there. So speaking of some reactions, we'll go back into the fever here in a little bit and some Colts conversation as well. But again, Purdue's 4-2 or north of the border. We did this yesterday, James, of like, tell me Purdue's leading scorer for next year. I mean, hell, tell me Purdue's starting 5
Yeah.
for this fall, this winter. And I'm writing in light pencil. I guess CJ Cox is in pen, and I would assume Caden Pierce, and then anyone's guess. I don't know, Daniel Jacobson maybe is that. I did see they made a roster move I want to ask Alan about. I think they've gone in the European pro route here, which now it's almost like what team doesn't have a European pro
Right.
on their team? It almost seems like your boys there in Illinois have started quite the shift here. So to talk more about it, let's head to the hotline. The president and publisher of goldenblack.com. He is Alan Karpick. He's with us here on the hotline. Alan, good morning, sir. As always, thank you for waking up with us bright and early. Hell, you've been up for 3 hours.
You know what? Actually, I have darn near, but not 3. But I love these long summer days, and I like to get up before the sun rises. But that also puts me to bed early. But no, hey, thanks for having me on. I look forward to talking some Purdue stuff.
We're chatting about the 4-2 are coming up there in Canada for Matt Painter and his bunch. If I had to say, Alan, give me your confidence level in naming a starting 5 right now, it would be where?
Well, first, I'm not sure how much it matters, but I think there's probably 3 or 4 guys that you can pencil in there. But no, I don't have a high level of confidence because you don't know for sure whether it's Antoine West, Luke Ertl, Jack, down the line where you have to Jack Benner, others at Caden Pierce, how all the puzzle pieces are going to fit. I feel pretty confident that Omer Meyer and Daniel Jacobson and either Jakari Harris or C.J. Cox will be in that lineup. So there I go. I've already named 8 guys in about 5 permutations. That's the way this is going to be this year, I think, for Purdue.
That is the voice of Alan Karpick. He is the president and publisher of goldenblack.com, part of the On3 network. Kind enough to join us on our guest line. Alan, when we had a chance to sort of digest the news of Alec Pierce re-signing with the Colts, a lot of the rumors were, well, he can't leave. His brother's coming to the state as well. So in regard to Caden Pierce, what should Purdue fans, really basketball fans around the state, expect from a player who a few years ago I think was the Ivy League Player of the Year?
Right. I think Purdue's going to need rebounding. That's stating the obvious. Every team does. And on paper, that's going to be an area that Purdue is going to really have to struggle when you think about TKR and Oscar Clough being out of the mix now. So who's going to do that? Now, Caden Pierce is not he's not 6'10". He's a stocky 6'6", 6'7" guy, but they like him a lot as a rebounder. And if Enzo Chauvin, who's been the much of the dilemma of whether he's going to be eligible, whether he's going to be ruled eligible. I heard you guys talking about some of the foreign issues. They need rebounding. And so you're going to expect Pierce to do that. I think you're going to expect Pierce just to do the right thing. I mean, he's done, he's been through injuries in his college career. He's played at a high level. They're going to have a lot of confidence in what he can bring. And, this team needs a little bit of age on it. I mean, you got Harris and Cox as juniors, and you need a guy a little bit more stately, more of an elder statesman. Maybe that'll help for Purdue's chemistry moving forward as well.
Again, that's Alan Karpick from Golden Black. He's with us here on the hotline. Alan, we had Jeff Rabjohns on yesterday, and again, asking about July bracketologies. I almost feel like I should just go wash my mouth out with soap. So yeah. I part of me apologizes, but it does seem like we're through the roster portal chaos of the offseason. So having said that, Joe Lunardi does have Purdue slotted as a 4 seed in his summer bracketology. If I said come March they are a 4 seed, would you say that's fair in terms of preseason expectations? That's over, maybe estimating things. It's underestimating things. How would you look at a 4 seed for Purdue?
That's over in my view. As today sits, I mean, again, Joe Lunardi's proven his worth, and yes, he's also proven his ability to keep talking college basketball in July, which is, I think, he'd be the first to admit that it's a little bit of lunacy, but fun to look at. I think Matt Painter talked about a couple days ago in his press conference yesterday, I guess it was, where when he met the media, he likes this team. If you're a longtime Purdue fan, you remember the team of 2018 with Vincent Edwards and Dakota Mathias and Isaac Haas and Swanigan all going away, and how that team in 19 was 6-5 after losing in Cambridge. But they had a guy named Carson Edwards and Ryan Klein and Matt Harms and others and Travion Williams who came on, and that team came within one bounce of the basketball, making the Final Four. He'd like to think, Matt Painter, that's what we're going to see this year. I think it's going to be really, it's going to be interesting because how good is Omar Meyer? Can he score at the level? Can Purdue? Purdue's had such an ability over the last, the Smith TKR lawyer era, which included a guy named Zach Edey, where baskets were relatively easy to come by. They made it look easy. Purdue could always score enough, it seemed. There were times when they struggled at times, but still. So that's going to be a big question for me. And I think if I'm Purdue and you can be a 4 seed, Matt Painter wouldn't agree to that, but I think I'd take that, at least on paper.
Again, that's the voice of Alan Karpick, president and publisher of GoldenBlack.com, a part of the On3 network. Alan, one more I have for you on the basketball side of things. Luke Ertl is someone I got a chance and the privilege to see over the last few years here just have some incredible high school games. But I think when people say, he could be the next Braden Smith, that's a little unfair because Braden Smith was so great for so long for that program. So what are realistic expectations for this guy coming into his freshman season with the Boilers?
Well, they're not the same player, for one thing. I think Ertl's more of a combo guy. I mean, he's Zach Edey to compare his size to Braden Smith, and that's a little bit of an overstatement. But the point is he's a little bit bigger. He's got a lot of skills and comes in with as much or more accolades, probably more, certainly higher rank than Braden Smith was. But he'll have to fight that because fans will look at that. I mean, he may not worry about it much, but there'll be fans that will constantly compare the two. There are some comparisons in terms of just ball handling skills, love for basketball, gym rat, all those things. But they're different players, and Purdue's going to use him, I would guess, at the point, but maybe at the 2. They really like Antoine West, also a redshirt guy out of Toledo that will work his way in, and how you do that with Omar Meyer and how that fits. So Luke Ertl is a good problem to have if you're worried about that comparison games, because he comes in with a guy that with a lot of skill, with a ton of want to, and a ton of upside, and maybe more upside than
Braden Smith certainly proved that early on that he could do.
Alan Karpick here with us, Golden Black. Alan, we'll end with this, and I meant to bring it up. I think I saw this announcement a couple weeks ago, but Devin Mockabee had very nice career at Purdue. Frankly, I was surprised that he wasn't one that transferred, but always was pretty specific, I think, academically on why he wanted to stay at Purdue, and I saw that has turned into a start here with Ed Carpenter Racing. Is there anything kind of fill us in a little bit more on Devin Mockabee and his post-professional career here?
Well, he has been, for lack of a better term, a auto mechanic. He loves cars. I know Tom Dienart from our staff went down to visit him a summer or two ago and wrote a really good feature on how much Devin loves to be that. He loves that world. Devin is just a unique person in the ability to, like you said, he could have transferred. He was a more than serviceable college football player. He was a good one. And certainly as a walk-on, he exceeded expectations. I think he also realized, I'm a long shot to make it in the league, if at all. And he got it maybe using his name and his reputation for being a super person. He's got that engineering background also. He's got a degree, I think, in mechanical engineering technology from Purdue. This is a smart guy that knows how to work, and I think that teams in that world, I don't know a lot about that world, to be very honest, but I do know that Devin Mockabee, if I was going to write a recommendation for a guy, he'd be at the top of my list. He's just been that type of guy. And he, like you said, he did jettison. He didn't take the money. Now, I don't know how much, but there's no doubt he could have had other opportunities in college football. Decided getting that degree from Purdue was important. And you remember, he's a walk-on. So I think the thing I like about him is he never forgot, where he came from, Boonville, Indiana, and from the southern part of the state, but also a guy that I think feels like he has a responsibility to do something important. And this to him, I think, certainly qualifies for that.
Boy, seems like a really, really impressive individual there.
He really is.
Shout out to Ed Carpenter Racing and Company, giving Devin Mockabee an opportunity. Alan Karpick right there on the hotline again. Purdue, north of the border, coming up Vancouver for them. They'll play 4 games up there in their foreign tour, which is a bit of a foreign year, frankly, for Purdue with all of the newness to their roster. Alan, thanks for getting us filled in on things.
All right, hey guys, thanks so much, and have a great rest of your long summer day. We'll enjoy it.
Will do. It is another beautiful one here. Chamber of Commerce type day to start things off on this Thursday morning. Reminder, Purdue will get their season started. They've got Gonzaga out in Vegas, so they will start Monday, November 2nd. I think people have brought this up before. College basketball kind of starts a little bit slow. And part of that has to do, I think, with you're just naturally in football season there. But I think there's an attempt from the college basketball world to come out with a few more bangers, if you will.
Yeah.
And I would say that qualifies. Purdue and Gonzaga, 7:30 our time, coming up Monday, November 2nd.
I'm excited about it. I think when we get to summer, I'm always like, man, I love the weather. I love the opportunity to see my family a little bit. Then we get to training camp and we get through that. I'm like, boy, where's the hoops? I'm a hoops lover, Kevin. So those days when we're recapping Colts games and IU basketball games and, hey, I went to this high school game on Thursday night, those are some fun moments. So looking forward to another great sports calendar.
Pretty fun last night for those inside of Gamebridge Fieldhouse.
Oh, yes.
I did have to laugh at this pregame. I'm scrolling the old timeline on Twitter, and all of a sudden I come across one at Hallie, H-A-L-I. That would be Tyrese Halliburton, tweets out at 4:29 yesterday. Can't make the Fever game tonight. Got 4 tickets. Who wants them? Now, do you think Tyrese Halliburton's just sending, like tyhalley22@gmail.com? You think he just is emailing these to some fan?
I would imagine there's probably a liaison or a middle person in between.
And so Zach chimed in here and goes, I'll take them, please. Parents, godmom, and myself. Tyrese Halliburton with the reply, say less, check DMs. And I believe the Fever tweeted out a picture of Zach and his
That's
crew.
awesome.
Can you imagine if they're
courtside.
physical tickets and you had to meet them in like an empty parking lot and Tyrese just rolls up?
Yeah, beat me at the Kroger up there off of Benford.
Here's a parking pass and some Hallie ones.
That is awesome. There's so much I love about Tyrese Halliburton.
He's just a good dude.
Gosh.
I will say this for the people who have never had a chance to meet him. He is as regular as they come. And I say that as a compliment because keep in mind, this is the USA gold medal winning player, the $200 million player, the franchise face. But at the same time, he's also, to your point about Devin Mockabee never forgetting where he came from, I also think that he hasn't forgotten where he came from, kind of being like the overlooked kid in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, to now one of the best players in the NBA. And certainly we're all rooting for him to be fully healthy so we can see what he can do when he's back in that sort of arena.
Yeah, I've only had a couple of non-media interactions with him over there at when the Pacers do the Thanksgiving Feed the Homeless dinner. And then one time, actually Andy Sweeney and I emceed an event at the Vogue during All-Star Weekend with him and Adrian Wojnarowski and Grant Hill. And just seeing him, a little bit behind the scenes, to me, when the cameras are away, he seems to be the same exact sort of person. Again, heavily interacting with his family. I mean, I think that is a huge part of his life. Mom, dad, sibling,
Can I say this real
obviously
quick?
his fiance, and it sounds like that wedding is upcoming here.
So I'm laughing because you talk about his family, and obviously his dad, the Giannis situation was crazy. But one of the funniest moments that I think about it is when.
By the way, the Giannis situation was bleeping crazy. That was
that
unbelievable.
Was insane. That was actually one of the things, Kevin, where we probably will never see something like that again. That was very bizarre. And
Giannis thinking it was just some fan.
Yeah, and I honestly think that if you go back and watch that video, Giannis is contemplating like, can I get away with murder here right now? But just kind of give you like just how funny their family is and how I think even just self-deprecating sometimes Ty can be what makes him endearing. So when he had the pop-up shop for his shoes and all that, like the Halley Mart and all that, we go and
right
they had like some
here.
AI-generated like photos of him on like these chips bags and pizza boxes and stuff. And one of the chips bags, I'm sorry, it did not look like Tyrese Halliburton. So I pick it up, and his dad's there like, oh, yeah, I'm so proud of my son. I said, yeah, your son's there, but like, who is this guy? This is another son you didn't tell us about? And he was like, oh, man, don't do my boy like that. He's like, yeah, we know that ain't him, but hey, we here. And so he was saying like, give us some time to grow, and maybe the second version of the Halley Mart will be a little bit better, a little more accurate than the first.
Early version of AI, basically.
Yeah, it was. I think
like
this was
Will
like
Smith eating noodles situation.
I kid you not.
Very bootleggy, Mark.
This had to be right when Chat GPT and all that was like really starting to pop off. So I had to laugh at just him not looking like himself on a couple of those, packaging.
I think it was like when I had my shirt off that one show, Mark, and the listener AI'd me with E.T.
E.T., yeah.
I think that was the early stages of AI, right? That was not real, was it?
Nah, you tell me. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it had one or two mini roles, frankly.
They hear a tummy rumble in there. You guys getting hungry?
I am. I might be a little.
Oh, really?
Give me a second.
At 7:54 in the morning. Wow. What's Mark Dykton cooking up in there?
I don't know, but whatever he's
Taco
cooking,
Bell?
I was gonna say, I hope it don't got lettuce on it.
Jeez, boy, you bringing the parasite in studio here, Mark?
Bring cooked vegetables up in here. Oh yeah,
I know that logo.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the man pays his bets.
A man pays his bets.
Oh, what do you got? You got more in there? Oh my gosh.
Oh, thank you,
Mark
sir.
Dykton, a little cluster truck action. And this is, of course, I assume, unless it's just him being a good Samaritan, this is for the World Cup draft. Is that correct?
We got to pay up because somebody like you actually won something.
And I believe that's a couple of player draft wins. And Mark Dykton's going to be scrambling to find what we can somehow draft next.
Mark, are you on the board yet? I feel like I've won once or twice here.
I think you're the Lions.
But I don't recall.
You're the 0-16 Lions.
Well, I'm not that bad.
I don't know. Since I come on the show, I've been in for like a year and a half now. The wins have been hard to come by for Mark Dykton.
Like
Mark,
you're the Jinx James here. You're welcome, and you love a good chocolate chip cookie, so
love
enjoy.
a good chocolate chip cookie. I love the crispy chicken Caesar wrap from Cluster Truck, so thank you very much for that. All right, 8 o'clock hour upcoming. It was quite the historic night inside of Gamebridge Fieldhouse. We'll hit on all of that, and the one part of the report card, to quote listener Dave from earlier in the show, doesn't play well with others. Unfortunately, that was on display again last night. We'll explain more. What does higher sense of urgency mean for the Colts? We heard that from Carly Ursay-Gordon months ago, less than a week out from report day to training camp. We'll try to define that. 8 o'clock hour upcoming here on a beautiful Thursday in Indy.
the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Any reason for a little Fallout Boy here, Mark Dykton?
It's a good song. Heard it the other day. I'm like, I haven't heard this song in a while.
Yeah, very good jam there. 8 o'clock on this Thursday morning. Looking forward to chatting with Alex Golden coming up at 9. He had a long discussion with Pacers GM Chad Buchanan, really the first on the record we've heard from any member of the Pacers upper management about their offseason. So we'll get Alex's thoughts on that coming up at 9. Still want to get to the Caitlin Clark audio from last night. Her answer was definitely different from what it was earlier in the week in regards to her technical fouls rising. It was a historic offensive night for Caitlin Clark and really all three All-Stars for the Fever there, but yet I couldn't turn it off for some reason. That one reason was because I thought she might get a technical, and sure enough, she did. So she's one away from being suspended for a game this season, so we'll play that audio upcoming. James, months ago at the start of the offseason, we heard Carly Ursay-Gordon utter the phrase, higher sense of urgency in regards to this upcoming season, as we are now 5 days away from report day to training camp at Grand Park. If you had to define higher sense of urgency, you would define it in what manner?
Oh, that's a good question because I almost think it's a setup. We've had to answer this every year. But higher sense of urgency, I don't know, Kevin. I guess for me, urgency would mean delivering when it gets cold. So November, December, obviously the first week of January, usually wrapping up the regular season. I think you got to have some urgency to get some wins then. I know you got to start fast. They've done that. I think that they've got a couple of little things off their back in recent years, but urgency is just a little bit different. Like, can you be urgent enough where you're not, scrambling and hoping that this team loses or that team wins so you can get into the playoffs, whereas you control your own destiny and win when it gets cold?
Do you think it's black and white for her at all? Like, must make playoffs?
I say no because I think that she's a very nuanced person, Kevin. I think that she's not as volatile, perhaps, as her father when it comes to results. And so that lends me to think that she'll be very thorough and layered in her decision-making. But then I say all of that, and I think, well, you basically decided to keep everyone here. By everyone, I mean coach, GM, quarterback, because you believed in the first half of last year. So that seemed pretty black and white. She did not view it as a full season. She basically told us, well, injuries kind of got us, so we're going to just try again.
Yeah, she definitely had some gray area, I think, in evaluating last season, I should say. Yeah, to me, higher sense of urgency, like, and I guess we're kind of on this report card analogy today, but for me, it can't be second semester senior year urgency. You already found your job over winter break, senior year, and now you're just coasting. You're at the bars every night, second semester senior year. That can't be the sense. And frankly, I think that has been the sense of urgency in recent years with the organization. I don't think the normal standard, really for the entire NFL, but for that organization, I don't think that's been met, acknowledged, adhered to. I think back when I was at IU, I remember some of my friends that were doing the Kelly School of Business, I-Corps was their big semester. It was like junior year, I-Corps. Oh my gosh, there's nothing like an I-Corps semester. I'm never going out during I-Corps. Frankly, I'd like to think that should be the sense of urgency for the Colts this season. But where I'm a little, head scratching with it is like, I just watched the offseason unfold, and I don't know if I would call it I-Corps-y.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they did things differently in that they let go of a lot. They said bye to a lot of core pillar players. But again, what they've added, it's just not a lot of substance. You're going to need a super reliance on early impact from your rookie class. You're going to need major in-house development at a couple of key spots. But the big swings in free agency, you saw it 2 off seasons ago. I thought Cam Bynum and Javarius Ward certainly fit that. I mean, there's nobody that fit that. Who was the most expensive free agent they brought in? I'm trying to think.
Was it Arden Key?
Boy,
trying to think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, who are we debating? Arden Key, Nick Westbrook-Akine, and Michael Clemens?
So Arden Key was what?
2 years, $16 million.
Yeah, 16.
Which, to reiterate again, when that signing was made, I try to stress that needs to be a move, not the move, and it ended up being the move of the offseason. So, yeah, when you define higher sense of urgency in that light, I don't necessarily see it so far, but we'll see how it translates when things get real. Seems like quite a few NFL teams are already at training camp.
Yeah, and I think when we finally get out there, it'll be an opportunity, Kevin, to kind of see where things stands from a health standpoint. We talked a lot about the contracts, the offseason, but I think some of the health stuff might inform what they do or what they pursue at this stage of free agency where it gets really stagnant. But there are a couple names out there. I'm not saying that there's any real like great players left, but for example, Kevin, if Alec Pierce and his status is not clearer than it was before, when we get to training camp, they tell us, well, we're still kind of waiting for him to get back in the groove and it might be another month. Does that mean you go and get another receiver or something like that? And so I'm also, not to be morbid or negative, but Kevin, you know, every year there's always that first week where somebody usually gets dinged up or goes down or something. And that might also influence how you kind of build out the rest of your roster. So things are going to be in motion here soon.
Last night inside of Gainbridge Fieldhouse, I thought it was one of the more impressive offensive displays we've seen from a team that's frankly been filled with many of those. 70 points in the first half. Caitlin Clark was outstanding in that first quarter. She has 27 for the game. Kelsey Mitchell has 23 for the game. Leah Boston has 22. None of them played a minute in the fourth quarter. They set a franchise record for points scored with 4 minutes to go in the game. And we're talking regulation here. You know, you didn't even need overtime to kind of pad that. They win by 35. It's the second biggest in franchise history. Just so much offensively. And yet I feel like it's a little bit of yeah. And then you got the one thing that you can't totally ignore. And that's up 30 late in the third quarter. Caitlin Clark gets teed up. Could you describe the scene for those that might have missed it last night, James?
Yeah, so when she got teed up, it was about 28 seconds left in the third quarter. She got fouled by one of these Sun centers, and then one of the guards, Sanaya Rivers, took exception to the call and kind of waved at Caitlin and expressed her displeasure with the call to a nearby referee. And then Caitlin kind of responded by yelling in her direction, "Look at the bleeping scoreboard. And so that warranted a double technical foul from the referees. And for Caitlin, that will be her 7th of the season. Now, people can argue, oh, it was kind of a weak technical foul. It wasn't deserved. But I also think that, at least in the game last night, if we rewind a little bit, Kevin, where Diamond Miller, I think, tried to kind of bait Caitlin into doing something after a dead ball. I think they were trying to keep a handle on that game to make sure nothing happened. Also, because of just the absolute butt kicking that was happening. And in those games, typically, you do see more attention because you're out there as the opposing team getting embarrassed. And so, yes, it was a quick tech. Was it deserved? That's not for me to really debate or decide. I think that it was probably one of the lesser egregious ones that she's had. They can appeal it, but the bottom line is, as it stands right now, she's got 7 and no more wiggle room if it stands.
So that is 7 technicals in 23 games.
Yeah, so I did the math kind of like this, Kevin. They're through 27 games as a team. So I did the 7 divided by 27, multiplied that by 44. So that put her at...
She's only played 23 is why I say 23.
Yes, exactly.
And not 27.
Which is even crazier because I'm like, dang, that means you were getting texted at an even higher rate because you already missed 4 games. But I did do the whole 27 games. That will put her at like 11.4 for the season, which will warrant 2 suspensions. If you do it based off the 23 games she's played, it'll put you at about 3 suspensions because of the, get to 8, you get suspended, 10 suspension, 12 suspension, so on and so forth. But yeah, I think that it's something that is a funny talking point to some people right now. Like, oh, she's sticking it to the league and standing up for herself, and everyone's kind of like joking about it. But it's not going to be a joke if you miss a crucial game and that game costs you home court advantage in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm not really in on the whole laughing matter, but that's kind of the vibe I got, honestly, watching some of the post game last night. Mark, go ahead and cue this up. This is Caitlin Clark. And remember, earlier in the week, when asked, I think it was you and Tony East,
I got dunked on
about the technicals, and you asked her something to the effect of, do you feel like you need to change any of your whatever behavior? And she offered a quick no to that. A little more expansive last night. This was Caitlin Clark post game.
I mean, I'm never going to back down. And, I think it was the same thing with the way Kelsey was in the first half, too. She got one in the eye. She's never going to back down from a moment. And I think just, continue to try to control your emotions the best you can. And that intensity and that fire is what makes me me. But also, knowing my team needs me and finding a good balance of that. But, I don't think, I'm going to be playing, with that in the back of my head. I think that might hinder my play a little bit. So I think just continue to be myself and then just try to refocus to, focusing on my teammates and how I can help them.
Do you think it's inevitable or no?
I don't know. I can't predict the future. You got to ask a Magic 8 Ball.
Are Magic 8 Balls still a thing? I used to love having one of those and shaking it up.
Until she mentioned it, I hadn't thought of that probably in 10 years. But your thoughts on the nonchalant nature of it?
It's the only thing that has come out of her mouth in 3 years I've really ever disagreed with her on. Everything else and how she speaks and talks about everything, and I say everything in all caps, I pretty much agree with her on. I think she handles the media sessions extremely well. I think she sounds really childish. I think it's out of both sides of her mouth in that answer. She's way too smart of a basketball player not to understand the potential ramifications of her absence. You read off the standings earlier. They're currently in the 4th spot.
They're in the 5th spot.
One
game back of being in the 4th spot, tied for 4th.
Which is home court.
Home court.
Again, picture an 18 bracket, 1, 2, 3, 4, half home court. You are actually decently close. I think it's just a couple games away from 2.
Right.
Which 2 seed would get you multiple home court series. Can you imagine what that would do to your franchise? I mean, not even just as a player playing home court, the financial ramifications of having extra home playoff games. I mean, when's the last time this franchise has had a home playoff series?
Brother.
I just, I don't agree with her whatsoever. And it just
they're 2 games back from being tied for the 2nd seed.
It feels so nonchalant. And I think there is a line that can be had by being a passionate basketball player and not letting it get to the point where you're leading the entire league. And it's her and Angel Reese. Your behavior,
they can't get away from each other.
Should not be Angel Reese replicating. I'm not. Hey, Max Bowen, go behave like Angel Reese. I don't say that to him. That is not the person you want to be on the same line with here. This is a crazy thought I had, and I have no idea if this would be the case, and it's probably not. But I said to myself last night when she got the first technical, I said to Stephanie White, just leave her in for the 4th quarter, let her get the 2nd technical, she'll get tossed, and then hopefully she can do the suspension for the All-Star game Saturday night. That was my thought. Just let her get to 8 and then suspend it for Saturday night in the All-Star game, and whoop-de-doo, and then she's back for the West Coast trip coming up on Tuesday.
We made the joke.
That'd really be sticking it to the league then.
I was gonna say, boy, they'd be so bad.
Yeah.
But their first game back after the All-Star break is against Seattle, which Caitlin went off in that game at the 45-10. But they're still one of the worst teams in the league. So someone was like, "Wait, would you rather have her get it now and just have a longer break and come back and be fine?" But even then, it's not something that just goes away because of the automatic suspension if you get 2 more. It's not like if you get to 8, you get another 8 for the rest of the year.
This doesn't get wiped clean.
No, it doesn't get wiped clean until the playoffs.
Every 2 once you get to 8.
Exactly. And so I think that's a very good point. And I'm curious to see at this point if the tone and the reaction will change when it's no longer just this, hypothetical situation. It's real. and it's in your face that you can't be out there for your team.
And to be clear, like I thought last night was outside of the Storm game last week, it might have been her best game of the season.
Yeah, she was amazing.
I mean, she shot it great. I mean, the shot has been a little up and down here, especially recently. She shot it great. I thought she, when she needed to quarterback it and facilitate it, like she throws just such great passes. She was doing that. Again, her stat line is through 3 quarters, just like Kelsey Mitchell, just like Aaliyah Boston. So it's the only con. And as Dave pointed out earlier, on the report card, it says high honors. Hell, it says borderline valedictorian. But unfortunately, it also says doesn't play well with others. And there are some consequences to that. And that consequence is 1 technical away from a suspension. Did you think Stephanie White's tone was nonchalant as well? I thought Caitlin's was very. I got the vibe that Steph's was a little bit like that.
Mark, if you have it queued up, let's just hear from Steph, and we can probably react afterwards. But yeah, I thought hers was pretty nonchalant as well.
Well, anybody who thinks that if I have a plan to be strategic about technical fouls is crazy. No, I mean, look, she's gotta pick and choose, right? She's got to pick and choose, and it's every 2 after that. So, I think the biggest thing is she knows, she has awareness about it. We'll try to help her when we can, but sometimes we can't. And if she wants to be strategic about which game she doesn't want to play, then she'll let her fly.
That last part right there, laughing it off and pick a game.
Yeah, it's too eggshelly for me. It's nonchalant, pick and choose. She has awareness about it. Frankly, I don't think she does. I mean, she's 1 technical away, and how many games are left?
I think she is aware, and she just doesn't care or can't change her behavior.
That's probably more accurate, honestly.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, she knows.
What, they have 18 games left, something like that? 16
so
games left?
If you're at 27, you get to 44, you got about, what is that, 17
17 games?
Yeah. Hopefully the math is correct.
Going 17 games out technical, it's like telling Mark Dykton not to hit on one of those foreign websites here for the next month.
I start getting itchy if I don't do it.
Gosh. How many private browsers can you get over there? Unbelievable.
Look, so far so good. It might have been 17 days since we last lost our show account, so knock on wood, Kevin.
No, that's, yeah. Go ahead and sing that Taylor Swift song at this point. Mark, can we check it out?
The Morning Checkdown, brought to you by Suave Men Refreshing Face and Body Wash on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Well, again, the numbers from last night, quite impressive. 123, that is a franchise record. 70 in the first half. And just to remind everybody, this is a 40-minute basketball game. They're not 48 minutes like those in the association are the NBA. All 10 Fever who entered the game scored a 35-point win, the second biggest in franchise history. And shout out to Kelsey Mitchell. That's now 11 straight over 20 points. James, you said franchise record, and I believe it's the 4th longest streak in the history of the WNBA.
She is a special scorer and a special human being. Everyone over at the Fever loves them some Kelsey Mitchell, and I think she is one of the more quiet assassins in the league and lets her game do the talking, and boy, her game has been loud as of late.
Another 2-1 win for the Indians yesterday. That was over at Victory Field. It was Lehigh Valley, the opponent. They scored in the 8th to get the win there. We've got Marvel Night on Saturday. We've got Paw Patrol on Sunday. Did I hear Kentucky Kingdom's on your agenda this weekend, Mark Dykton?
Yes, it is.
How about that? So you're just going double birds to Marshall and Sky and Rubble and...
Well, no, that's Saturday. Or no, we're going Saturday. So.
Oh, you got time for Sunday.
Yeah.
You can come back and see that. And now
Sunday's the big one. Like I said, that's gonna be busy because kids eat free on Sundays too.
So you say Paw Patrol crowd much bigger than Marvel crowd.
Yeah.
But you're not as character up to date on the Paw Patrol crew.
We haven't really watched too much Paw Patrol. I mean, I'm familiar with it, but you were mentioning Humdinger and whatever else you were saying.
Yeah, Humdinger and Goodway will be on the Kiss Cam.
Yeah, those I don't know about, but
little mayoral affair,
that's all we need.
Shockingly, we have none of those.
We usually watch Bluey or whatever else is on Disney Plus these days. Usually, but now they're starting to get in some Nickelodeon like live action stuff, and I'm like, what is this show?
I know Rosie's starting to watch some of that stuff, and I'm like, no, there's too much like teenage humor for my liking.
The Thundermans, it's like a superhero family. That's the show they've been watching a lot lately.
Yeah, Maddie would have to. Maddie knows all the titles. I'm just sitting there like, can we go back to Bluey?
No, put on Ren and Stimpy. Let the kids learn
Ren
how
and
I
Stimpy,
learned.
Yeah. Can I watch Double Dare?
Oh, that was great. Mark Summers. I always wanted to climb in that nose and get the flag out. James, do you know what we're talking about right now?
I do not, so I'm letting you all have the floor.
Hey,
Double
Arnold.
Dare was like a kid's
Can I watch
like
Recess?
I know Hey Arnold.
Well, Hey Arnold was great too.
was a classic.
Hey Big Head. No, Double Dare was like a kids like competition show where there was like a what would you call it? Like a obstacle course they had to get through. They had to get a flag and everything, so they'd like have to dive in like giant whipped cream sundaes and grab a flag.
What was the Hidden Temple one?
Oh, Legends of the Hidden Temple was
Legends of-
fantastic.
yeah,
I love
yeah.
that show.
Yeah, that game
The
was
purple
awesome.
monkeys and everything like that. I wanted
Yeah.
to be on that show so bad.
Same. Gosh, I still do. I guess the Hidden Temple maybe for the Chicago Cubs bats yesterday. 5-1 losers there to the Tigers. They lost that series. Is that right? Or is the series still going on today, Mark?
No, they're off today.
Off today.
Out to Pittsburgh next.
Reds over the Mariners. Cardinals, they shut out the Angels 1-0. White Sox over the Rangers. Brewers continue to do Brewers-type things. It is Brickyard 400 weekend upon us here. Again, you'll get dirt track action tonight. We had Doug Bowles on yesterday. And they will have some activities as well coming up Friday and Saturday. 2 o'clock Sunday. Weather looks outstanding. I know it's going to be a little bit warmer on Sunday, but still, all things considered, very good weather for Brickyard weekend. No state fair. No Colts training camp, WNBA All-Star Weekend. So, a lot of things going for them as they try to draw a crowd. I think Doug said yesterday, anything north of 60,000, they feel like is still a very impressive crowd, even, grandstand picture-wise. It obviously doesn't look super impressive. Speaking of racing, love to see the news yesterday. Dreyer and Reinbold Racing, who we're used to as just an Indy 500 team, they have bought a charter off of Ray Hall Letterman Racing. So Dreyer Reinbold, it will now be a full-time entry into the IndyCar Series starting in 2027. First time they have done that since 2012. Their Indy 500 history as a one-off team has been excellent here over the last, couple of decades. So really looking forward to this. I'm really curious who their driver will be. This year they had Connor Daly and Jack Harvey in the 500. So very interested to see who their full-time driver will be coming up in 2027. Earlier in the show, we talked a little foreign tour. That was Purdue. Matt Painter and company heading north of the border to take on some teams from Canada. They'll play 4 games starting this weekend. Indiana back in action tonight. They've got Peru. That is they've got the Virgin Islands in Peru. 6 o'clock tip for that one. Anything else that I feel like you had something in the first hour that I'm totally spacing on?
I think I'm spacing too, brother. It's been kind of a long week, I think, with a lot of things going on the sports side. But again, if I just had to hammer home one point, that Fever offense last night, pretty special stuff. And that's an offense that could get you some places. Again, we talked about it. You ain't got to be great on defense. Just be decent, because that offense is good enough to kind of get you over the top.
Yeah, it's reminiscent of Pacers recently.
Yep.
You want to go back. I don't think it's hyperbole to say Colts with Peyton. They can do that. It's that historic of an offense. It's just like, can your defense, again, just be adequate to average on that front? The mind of Mark Dykton. We'll get into that on the other side, and I got to know coming up next here. Fan Morning Show. Let's get a little weather update from Amber Hardwick.
We are tracking another beautiful day with partly cloudy skies and a high near 79 degrees this afternoon. And for tonight, mostly clear and quiet. Lows are going to fall into the upper 50s. I'm Fox 59 meteorologist Amber Hardwick for The Fan.
And I wonder if you know what it means to find your dreams. And I wonder
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
James Boyd, your first sports memory. Your first, watching a sporting event on television.
Oh, I was about to say, I thought you were talking about back in the day when I was, winning championships and stuff. Shout out to my sister, Jessica. We won the 4th grade championship together. They called us the O&D twins. I was offense, she was defense, and my sister had a little bit of that, mean streak in her.
The glove.
Yeah, no, not the glove. She had to shove. Come to the lane.
Hey, if you can get away with it.
You're getting that Bill Lambier treatment with Jessica Boyd. But as far as my earliest memory as a fan, I would say it was the 2004 NBA Finals. I remember watching that in my grandma's house. It was the first finals I ever watched and really can remember and having opinions about. I was about 9 or 10 years old at the time, and seeing Shaq and Kobe get bounced by the Detroit Pistons, the year that some on these airways might say that the Pacers should have won it.
I know, a little sour taste.
I know, but that was my first memory of sports.
Mark Dykton?
Well, James said 2004. I'm going back to 1992 with the Dream Team.
Ooh.
Barcelona. My dad is like, this is legendary right here. Jordan, Bird, Magic. We need to watch this.
It's funny you go Olympics, Mark. I go to 96, and I just saw, the reason why I brought this up, it's the anniversary. So what would it be now, 30 years ago today? Carrie Strug in the 96 Olympics, tearing ligaments in her ankle on the first vault, and she gets back up there for the second vault and sticks that landing in immense pain to clinch the gold medal for the United States. I can distinctly remember where I was in my parents' living room watching that. And what kind of got me thinking a little bit more on that, Mark, is remember when we had Bob Costas on a few years ago, and we asked him just something along the lines of the most iconic moment you feel like you've been a part of. And I mean, he could have gone anywhere with that question. I mean, you think about sports voices in our world and all the events that he has been to and covered and been a part of. And he went to those 96 opening ceremonies when the big question was, who will be the last person to light the torch? And there was a huge unknown and a huge secrecy to it. And he shared the chills thinking back on the story. I know we have the audio somewhere, Mark, of Muhammad Ali and the previous night of him trying to light the torch and it really not going well. And they're thinking to themselves, oh my gosh, what happens if, this were to occur the next night when we're live, when all the world is watching here? And luckily, fortunately, none of that occurred. And obviously you have unfortunately, a trembling Muhammad Ali in that moment light the torch. So I think back to those 96 Olympics and whether it's Carrie Strug or whether it's, the gold shoes of Michael Johnson or, all of that. Those are probably my first kind of vivid. I do remember Aaron Bailey in the catch in 95, but that Carrie Strug was probably the first one for me.
Yeah, I remember Costas mentioning just Ali stepping out of the shadows, and he said there's just a chill went through the room, like, oh my God, he's out there.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah. 28 LA, I don't know how you could even come close to replicating that, but we'll be curious to see.
I'm trying to think, there's one more. Here's one more that I had. When LeBron scored 29 of 30 to beat the Detroit Pistons in the playoffs, that still is probably one of the greatest performances I've ever seen in my life. To have somebody do something like that at that young of an age. I mean, at 27, he was, 24 years old? That's insane to put up those numbers and to be that dominant against that team in the playoffs.
Some early memories there. Mark Dykton, should we get into an I Gotta Know?
He's got questions.
How about a game?
They've got answers.
Hey, I'm more of a cornhole man myself.
Sports, music, movies.
What?
High fashion.
That Hansel's so hot right now.
And everything in between.
You ever seen a foot with 4 toes?
It's time to get a glimpse into the mind of Mark Dykton.
Stop it, you're scaring me.
It's time for I Gotta Know.
Okay, you two punks, I want a good, clean fight. Let's get it on.
All right, boys, so we're kind of going down this road a little bit with what Kevin's previous question was. You can have one attribute from any athlete of all time. What are you taking?
I'm taking Steph Curry shooting. I've always wanted to be a shooter. And the ability to score without having to get beat up. Because, man, being a skinny dude that goes to the basket doesn't end well for me, boys. I want the jumper.
Boy, that's a great question, Mark. Any skill from any athlete? Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Like, I'm taking Tiger's iron game.
I know.
Give me that.
I know. Golf would be the easy cop-out. How about Barry Bonds' swing?
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
But see, like, I also want to, my caveat for all this is, like, are we thinking we're going to go pro with these skills? Or are you just trying to, like, live your life as it is now? That's why I'm taking Tiger's iron game. I'm okay with the drives, the putting I can get by. The irons is where I struggle.
Okay.
Give me Tiger's iron
Look
game.
at you. You are locked in on
I'm
this.
locked in.
Yeah.
See, I just want the feeling of a home run.
Yeah.
Major
Did
League
you get
Baseball
close to
ballpark.
Victory Field? You're like, if only I had some juice.
Boy, let's just say the JW Marriott was safe when I was in the batter's box. But yeah, I don't know. The feeling of dunking, obviously, like in the NBA game, would obviously be pretty cool. But yeah, I'm gonna go Barry Bonds' swing. Something about being a lefty too.
Interesting. All right. Who has been the MVP of the Fever through the first half of the season?
Ooh, that's a great question. I'm rolling with number 0, Kelsey Mitchell. She's been their most consistent player, I think, all year. Her scoring outbursts have been phenomenal. And even if we go back to last year, I know you asked about this year, Mark, but she was the head of the snake that got them to within a game of the finals, and she's picked up right where she's left off, averaging a career high in points. No excuses. All she does is get buckets.
It's a good one. Sarah Kustok last night was pretty adamant that Asia Wilson should have company in the MVP race, and it should be Kelsey Mitchell. Yeah, you know, when you get in the acronym of most valuable, but then again, we've done this, the Fever record without Caitlin Clark isn't like that alarming. Again, I mean, they obviously are a better team with her, but yeah, I'll probably go with Kelsey Mitchell as well. And some might counter and say, boy, Aaliyah Boston, if you look at the depth chart, you know, what's easier to withstand?
You look at the defense as well.
Yeah, you know, there's been nights where Aaliyah hasn't played and they've given up a ton. So, but yeah, I'll probably go Kelsey Mitchell.
Not sure if you guys saw this, but early projections for NFL running backs has Jonathan Taylor leading the league in rushing yards with 1,250.5 yards. That's the over-under. He's got the highest over-under of anybody active rusher in the NFL. Will he be the leading rusher in the NFL in 2026?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to say no, because if your offense is supposed to look a certain way, with Alec Pierce, Tyler Warren, Josh Downs probably having a bigger target share, I'm going to say that he has a great season if he stays healthy, but not a league-leading season.
Who I will say yes. Who are the other running backs up there, Mark?
So the next closest, from what I can tell, is Derrick Henry at 1,225.5. After that, it goes to James Cook at 1,200.5. And then we start dropping Saquon Barkley, 1,100.5.
Bijan Robinson up there?
Yeah, let me see where he's at. Bijan is 1,150.5. So yeah, right around there. But Taylor, far and away the favorite, and then Derrick Henry, and then Jahmyr Gibbs in there and all that stuff.
See,
the thing about Taylor, he's just so durable.
He is durable, but I think the Ravens' ground game is so great with the misdirections I did with Lamar Jackson that Derrick Henry is just, they're always going to have an advantage. And every year we look and see which team leads the league in rushing total yards. Is usually the Ravens, and it's usually led by Derrick Henry.
Taylor also expected to lead the league in rushing touchdowns at 11.5. Over under 11.5 touchdowns for Jonathan Taylor. Rushing touchdowns.
11.5, that's a good number for any running back any year. I'm going to take the over on that one. I think if they have the offensive season they're supposed to, he can punch it in and get on some of these streaks where he has, 2 in a game here or there.
Touchdowns can always be finicky. You know, you get to the goal line, you just never know.
Tyler Warren, don't you dare line up in the backfield.
Exactly. Tyler Warren, certainly can steal a few, vulture a few, to use the fantasy term there. I guess if Daniel Jones were healthier, I might say under. Jones is keeping a few kind of the goal line. We saw that early last year too. But I will say a healthy Taylor goes over that.
All right, last but not least, what are we watching, boys? We watched, Ashley and I watched Obsession on Peacock the other day. It's a horror movie that had rave reviews. We watched it. It was very good. Very scary, very weird, very good.
Okay, I got to check out Obsession on Peacock as well. I've been watching House of Dragons. I think I told you all that last week. I'm still kind of confused on what's going on. People keep telling me I'm dumb. I can't just keep up with it. But the action has been great as of late, and I'm into it. I'm back locked in.
Mark, Rosie is currently at camp this week. Her niece is going to camp with her, and our niece, I should
I was gonna say, I was starting to get
say
confused.
she one of those kids that has like the weird family dynamic of like that's your niece, but like they're the same age.
Family tree has crooked branches on it here. Yes, her cousin, our niece. We watched this. She spent the night last night. We watched Descendants, Wicked.
Yeah, Wicked Wonderland.
Yeah, Brandy and Rita Ora. I forgot about Rita Ora. She had some bangers back in the day. We get a little Rita Ora in the 9 o'clock hour here. Very good. And I think maybe an early favorite for some Halloween costumes.
Oh yeah, the
Coming
girls
up.
love that, so they we watched that as well a couple times, and they're like, "Can you download the soundtrack?" I'm like, "Sure."
Yeah,
sure. That'll be in my Spotify Wrapped already.
It's pretty good. It had Maddie Bowen singing and dancing a little bit there. So even for the adults, I would recommend that.
There you go. That's all I got.
The brain of Mark Dykton right there. Again, coming up 9 o'clock, Alex Golden setting the pace as the podcast. He had Chad Buchanan, Pacers GM, on. First time, really, we've heard from any of the main Pacers brass in regards to the offseason that has unfolded. Yes, there was a LeBron question answered, I would say very candidly, from Chad Buchanan. We'll chat with Alex about that coming up at 9 o'clock. Fan Morning Show here, 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
I like it, Mark Dykton.
Ask and you shall receive.
As always, he delivers. Good Thursday morning to you. A beautiful start to this Thursday here in the Circle City. I like that question, Mark, you threw our way. What skill of any athlete would you want to have? A few here on the text line. Mark, this kind of fits maybe your bill. John Cena's strength.
Oh.
Or Usain Bolt's speed.
Sure.
Can you imagine being Usain Bolt?
Yeah, that would be pretty sick.
To get back to the Olympic conversation for just a second, I do think there's something about the quietness of 80-some thousand right before the start of that 100-meter dash in the Olympics, and that gun goes off. That kind of always gets me. Every 4 years, I just love that.
Brian says, want Nolan Ryan's fastball. Derek says, I want Bobby Bonilla's payday. Well, that'd be nice.
Well, I laughed.
That's actually a great answer.
That is a great answer.
I laughed at
I didn't
that.
think about monetarily.
Well,
Gosh, you guys are hilarious.
I don't know if you thought about this either. I laughed at that one, but this from Jason. He wants Wilt Chamberlain's game.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe he said game in quotes.
Yeah. Yeah, you can go that route too.
Take that for whatever it's worth there. You mentioned Jonathan Taylor leading the league in rushing. You know, when you look at last season, James, it's just such a contrast. And literally you could say when Jonathan Taylor ran the ball efficiently, the Colts won. When he didn't, they lost. And such a contrast from the first half of the season to the second half of the season. I was looking at this during the break. The Colts played the Chiefs. Do you know what the date of that game was? I'm gonna look that up. That was in November, right?
Let's see.
Colts Chiefs. I want to say it was right after they got back from their bye week, maybe.
Yeah, it was week 11.
Okay, so week 11, that's November 23rd. The Colts played.
Or week 12, I'm sorry.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Colts played 6 games after that. So on November 23rd, with 6 games left in the season, if I would have told you walking out of Arrowhead Stadium that afternoon, a overtime loss by the Colts, that would be the last time you see Jonathan Taylor have a carry over 15 yards the rest of the season. And he played the final 6 games of the season. He was healthy. He led the league in carries. He never showed up in the injury report. And yet on that day, November 23rd, with 6 games left in the season, that was his last game where he had a carry of more than 15 yards. To add a little bit more to that, up until that point of the season, he had 21 carries of at least 15 yards. 21 carries of at least 15 yards through the first 11 weeks, and then right there in Kansas City was his last one.
That is kind of crazy to think about, honestly. But at the same time, I think a lot of that was married to the lack of health from Daniel Jones. And we can get into the debate of how easy it is to stop running backs who are great. But when your offense becomes that one-dimensional where opposing teams just don't have any fear of your quarterback whatsoever passing the ball, I think you get games like that where the box is just stacked.
Carry? Not one. Like, I mean, how many carries did he have over the final 6 weeks of the season?
Yeah, but I mean,
80, 100?
So you're saying what, they could have schemed one up or something, or offensive line maybe should have had a little bit of a crease somewhere? It is kind of crazy that now that you put it like that. 115, I could, yeah. My perspective was more so like the overall output. But yeah, 115-yard carry. Now that you kind of reiterate that, yeah, he had a lot of chances to break just one.
A drop in production, sure.
Yeah.
You know, again,
that is a weird anomaly. I'm glad you pointed that out.
Like
That's
Tyler
weird.
Warren had a drop in production
Yeah.
with Daniel Jones hurt. So yeah, I mean, again, I that to me is fine and expected and all of that, but not to have one carry of more than 15 yards. It's just it's astonishing the difference. And Warren's kind of in the same boat. I mean, if you look at Warren, you know, pretty much all of his good games last season came in the first 10 or 11 weeks, and then, you know, quieter finish. And sometimes with rookies, we always go, oh, he hit a rookie wall.
Do you believe in that? Do you believe in that as
I
well,
mean, Tyler
Mark?
Warren played, what, 14 games his final year at Penn State until Notre Dame beat him in the Orange Bowl? Gosh, I was so happy.
Do you all believe in rookie walls, though?
I don't know. I think part of me is like, when it fits the narrative, you go there.
Yeah.
Like Latu had a similar finish to his rookie
Yeah.
season, and UCLA wasn't playing as many games as Penn State was playing. You know, I don't know if it's necessarily the rookie wall, but I am curious about this, James. I guess the rookie offseason. You know, when he got done at Penn State,
Okay,
you're
fair.
largely playing for a track meet for the next 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
It's combine, it's decathlon.
They
you
call
know,
it the Underworld Olympics.
Right. It's that sort of training. Whereas off season 1 into 2, you know, you're approaching that totally different. I saw some over-unders marked that had Colston Loveland above Tyler Warren in yards for this year. Would you, I mean, I'm asking you to be an unbiased Bears fan here, but would you agree with that? Colston Loveland more yards than Warren this season?
Colston Loveland shocked me with, like, first of all, how his lack of production to start the season, and then how much he turned it on in the second half. And year 2 of Ben Johnson, got rid of DJ Moore. I could see Colston Loveland getting plenty of targets. He's a mismatch machine out in the offense. So I could totally see Colston Loveland getting a lot of balls his way.
So he had 713 receiving yards last year and 6 touchdowns.
Loveland did?
Yes.
And he was kind of the reverse of Warren.
Mhm.
You know, better clothes than start there. It's amazing how, Mark, you delivered that lunch and my inability to just sit there and look at it. I mean, I just ate it.
You did. You didn't waste any time. We barely went to break, and you had the wrapper already like half off, and you're already deep throating it.
Oh, jeez. Was that necessary?
I couldn't think of any other words.
Gosh.
I honestly didn't notice it that time until you said that. Oh, boy.
I kind of ran out of vocabulary.
The fact that you couldn't think of any other words.
I'm not gonna lie, Kevin. I'm with you on that, brother. The man slanders you. Look, he rewards you, then he slanders you.
Unbelievable. Like that excuse. You know, I'm running back to the huddle.
You inhaled it. How about that?
Running back to the huddle, just got whistled for my 7th technical in 23 games. Stephanie, why? Well, I couldn't think of any other words.
It's got notification. I got an HR meeting after this.
10:01.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Make sure that calendar's clear.
You inhaled it. How about that?
Don't try to correct me. Alex Golden next. Dear Lord. Andy Moore Group campus in Avon. 4 brands on one piece of ground, a big piece of ground, but you got 4 brands over there: Toyota, Nissan, Volkswagen, and Kia. Let's focus on Volkswagen here for a second. Shout out to GM Mike. He's a big golfer. I love him. Used to be at the Nissan dealership a little bit, I'm trying to use my directions here, a little bit east on that campus. Down the Volkswagen brand now, and if you mention my name, you're going to get $500 discounted off your price there. So again, that's GM Mike at the Volkswagen dealership in Avon. 0% APR on Atlas and Tiguan, and you can check them out today right there off of Rockville Road. They're one of 4 brands: Volkswagen, Kia, Nissan, Toyota. All of that is available to you out there off of Rockville Road. The Andy Moore Group campus in Avon. Tell them Kevin Bowen sent you.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Boy, a glorious Thursday here in the Circle City. Thanks for spending it with us. Let's head to the hotline. I've enjoyed the listen the last couple of mornings on my commute in. Setting the Pace, always a great listen from a podcast standpoint. And Chad Buchanan making an appearance over there. Again, we really haven't heard at all from Pacers brass in regards to their offseason. I get it. It's been a quiet offseason, but I guess we briefly heard from Chad after the selection of Braden Smith, but much more expansive on that. It's a 2-part series on the Setting the Pace podcast, and one of the hosts of that is with us here right now. He is Alex Golden. Alex, good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, KB, James. How you guys doing?
We are great. Your Cardinals hanging in there?
Barely, but
That was not planned, by the way, for me to set that up for the buzzer here. I mean, I guess, Mark, you're looking down at them in the standings, aren't you?
Still? Yeah, just a tad.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking up at the Cardinals in the standings here. But they're right there, aren't they? Aren't they right there for a wild card spot?
Yeah, they're close. They've just had some really bad games the last couple weeks, or the last week, really. Blowing a 7-run lead to the Diamondbacks in that series was rough. Watching that was painful. It was a painful, slow death. And then losing by hitting an Angels player, is terrible. Hit by a pitch to end a game is pretty rough.
Yeah, that is an understatement. Yeah, that's probably the only thing the Reds haven't done this season that's been awful. Again, Alex Golden setting the pace. He is with us here on the Payless Liquors Hotline. Okay, your biggest takeaway from what Chad Buchanan said to you guys was what?
Good question. I mean, there was a lot that was covered in this two-part, conversation. So appreciate Chad, giving us over an hour worth of conversation there. But I just think that what sticks out to me mostly is probably just the Jarris Walker, Kelly Oubre edition type thing. It's just hammering, the point home that they wanted to go out there and address the wing spot. And they looked at different avenues, whether it was trade, whether it was, talking to different agents about who to go after. They kept circling back to Kelly Oubre Jr., but then also saying, Jarris Walker is somebody they want to see maybe become this version of the Pacers version of like an OG and an Obi. And I'm like, that's a lot to ask a young player that's entering, a contract year that's going to have a lesser role. So curious to see how Jarris kind of responds to that and what he looks like in a lesser role, because Buchanan did also say that he thinks Jarris is at his best when his role is simplified. So be curious to kind of see how that all plays out. But the reason they went after Oubre was, pretty obvious. The things that we all kind of know is just the two-way versatility, the ability to defend, give some relief to Nembhard and Nesmith, but just they're trying to win now, and they wanted to go out there and get a win-now player and a proven veteran kind of guy, and so that's why I think, Oubre was at the top of their list.
Again, that is the voice of Alex Golden, Setting the Pace podcast. Get all your Pacers content from there. Alex, I'll go here. I'm a James. I did want to hear about a fellow LeBron James regarding the Pacers. You did put some, feet to the fire with Chad Buchanan, and I was a little upset because you should have just told him, dude, you got to close the deal. You got to get this done. But jokes aside, what were your thoughts on him? I guess basically really addressing it probably more forthright than a lot of GMs probably would, even if they don't hear a yes from Mr. James.
Yeah, he said don't expect the deal to get done immediately after I ask about it. But that was kind of that was kind of my plan the whole time, was kind of ease that question in there just to see how he would respond
I have done that before every now and then. Yes. Little interview tactic there. Great job.
And he honestly made a perfect setup when he compared Jalen Slosson's chase down blocks in Summer League to LeBron James, which I thought was just terrific. I was like, he's like, I don't think anybody, does seeks out blocks like that, aside from LeBron James. And I'm like, did we just get a LeBron Jalen Slosson comparison here? So
who needs LeBron? We got LeBron at home.
That's right. And on a discount deal. So no, I just thought that was great. And obviously, I think everybody knew the Pacers really weren't in contention, but just to kind of speculate about it for the last couple of weeks has been fun. And I think LeBron understands this probably would be a good fit from a team standpoint, but just playing in Indiana, I just can't really envision LeBron ever wanting to end his career here in this state.
Again, Alex Golden, Chad Buchanan on with them, Setting the Pace, two-part listen, always with Chad. It's a great listen. I thought Alex and Facci handled that really, really well. So great work from you guys there. Let's talk Eastern Conference for a second. Give me a team that you feel like their offseason moves looks like seeing Kevin Bowen in a dark alley, i.e. you're not very impressed by them, and then the offseason moves that it looks like Mark Sanchez walking down a dark alley. You are impressed by their moves, and you are fearing them.
Oh wow, that's a great setup. I think you're underestimating yourself down a dark alley, Kevin Bowen. I can see where you might have some Mark Sanchez in you. I'm just kidding, but the Detroit Pistons, they are a very fascinating team because I feel like they're more the Kevin Bowen for me, just because I like some of the moves they made. Right, I think John Collins, a shooting power forward, makes a lot of sense, but moving off Isaiah Stewart, who was a pretty big part of their team, for not really a whole lot. Understand there was some stuff behind the scenes, I guess, going on there, but that's a loss to me just from a talent perspective. And then the Jalen Duren thing. We kind of have seen this happen before. When you start playing with people's money and you're not really sure what they're going to pay him, but there might be some animosity there from Jalen Duren and his camp for how they're handling this whole restricted free agency. Could that sour into the whole entire team dynamic? So I think that's just something to kind of monitor there. But it's really hard to say, with what the Philadelphia 76ers have done, be able to get Jaylen Brown for Paul George. I mean, that does make them just a lot more of a scary team, in my opinion. I think everyone's kind of always thought about, well, it really kind of hinges on the health of Joel Embiid. Well, I don't really think they need to worry about that now, as crazy as that sounds. I think with Maxey and Edgecombe and Jaylen Brown, you've got yourself a really dynamic three that could really push for an Eastern Conference Finals, run. And people are talking a lot about Miami. I'm still skeptical a little bit just because I think they need to add some more pieces to kind of fill out the rest of that roster. But quietly, Atlanta has done a very, very good job with their, moves around the edges, getting an Aaron Wiggins in a trade. That was something I thought the Pacers might explore. And then you also throw in getting Lou Dort and not really having to give up much. I understand Zachary Ricochet was part of that deal, but also bringing in Ryan Nembhard. I think they're just a pretty deep team. They're going to have a lot of defensive weapons out there to throw at you. So while people really aren't talking about them as much as maybe title contenders, I think that they are taking a step in the right direction. And could they be a team that's got enough pieces now to maybe make a bigger trade to make this team better?
Rough sketch 1 through 8 in the Eastern Conference. Feel free to rip as you please here. Knicks, Pacers, Sixers, Cavs 1 through 4, 5 through 8. Pistons, Celtics, Raptors, Heat.
That's where you have them at?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have Atlanta. Should I have Atlanta?
I probably would. I mean, but it's tough. That's one thing, Chad said with us is like there's probably 11 or 12 teams trying to compete this year. There's going to be some teams disappointed. I don't know how much I believe in the Cavaliers. It depends on if LeBron goes there or not. They were good last year, but still, James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, it's just there's so many question marks with how they're going to get better. I don't know if I'd have them as high. I think Boston's probably going to be better than people realize, just because you're going to have Tatum back, and it's not like Paul George is not the same level of Jaylen Brown, but he's still a very good player. And then you add in Mitchell Robinson as well at the center spot. I think they're going to be better than people expect, but it's really tough. And then Toronto, when this Kawhi thing settles down and they figure that out, that's a pretty big addition. And I don't really think they gave up too much in that deal, because Brandon Ingram has his limitations. And then, of course, Grady Dick was falling out of the rotation. So to be able to add someone like Kawhi, who at times last year looked like a top 5 player, I think they're going to be much more of a threat. So it's going to be a battle in the Eastern Conference next year, but I do think Pacers probably do finish in that top 4.
Again, that's the voice of Alex Golden. Does a great job keeping us informed about the Pacers with his Setting the Pace podcast. Last one I got for you, Alex. Since LeBron and you and Chad weren't able to recruit him to Indiana, and I'll hold that against you, just jokes, but if he comes back east, which team would you least want him to go to? Meaning, if he joins this team, they could be a bigger threat or the best threat to the Pacers.
Yeah, and maybe I'm just drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit, but I do worry a little bit about Philadelphia if he goes there. They clearly have a hole at the 4, and they brought in Dean Wade from Cleveland, which I think is a really good pickup. But if he can slide in there at the 4 with them, I think it just makes them that much more dangerous. I've not really understood the great basketball fit with the Miami Heat that a lot of people I've seen on Twitter talking about, like it's the best fit for any team is LeBron to the Heat. I'm just kind of like, I feel like there's a little overlap there with him and Giannis. I think it would be a weird dynamic. Really would have to rely on him shooting a lot. But I think for me, Philly probably, just from a basketball standpoint. And, from Cleveland, I know people say Cleveland too. I can't really see him and James Harden playing well together for, an entire, playoff run. So that to me is why I think with who Philly has currently on their roster, I think Philly is the most dangerous to me.
All I'm saying is I want a Pacers and LeBron James-led team playoff series. Could you imagine, Alex, if the Pacers and LeBron to retirement? We need that.
Great.
I mean, we need that kind of hate in the playoffs. So, if you can't get him to come here, you got to send him home. That's fair.
That's exactly how I feel. I think any Pacer fan would love to beat LeBron, because there was a lot of pushback from whenever there was could LeBron go to the Pacers? People were just talking about the idea. So many fans are like, I will not root for this team. I won't watch the game if he's on there. I said, you're full of crap. You will watch this team. But from as a content creator, I was praying that LeBron would come to the Pacers, because that would be endless content for the entire season.
Well, Kevin said that, does the hate still have the same level if it's old LeBron? Are you still just as happy to bounce him? And I said yes.
Yeah, no, I think it would, just because he's, run so many of these Pacers great teams in the last 15 years from getting further. Just think of the Game 7 against Oladipo squad and the goaltend that wasn't called. And then you look at the Paul George, Roy Hibbert era, they were so close a couple of times, but who was always in the way? LeBron James. And so now, we've enjoyed LeBron being in the West, haven't really thought about him too much, but now if he comes back east, it's just going to be probably just more annoying than anything else, but I think it'd be great to beat him.
It's an excellent listen. Chad Buchanan on with Alex Golden there, setting the pace again. is the podcast 2-part series. I would highly encourage you to check that out. Alex, as always, we appreciate the time, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week.
You as well. Good dude, Alex Golden, right there on the hotline. Yeah, it's funny that you bring that back up, James. I thought it was a good point you made earlier. Like the Colts beating Brady in 06, that's like climbing Everest.
Yeah.
For a fan.
Peak of his powers, still in his prime.
Belichick, Brady, in your own building. I would say how the game unfolded, added to it. It looked so doom and gloom for a while. How do you clinch it? You clinch it by intercepting Tom Brady as he's driving to potentially stick the dagger in you again. And the fact that was the first, Super Bowl appearance here in Indy. If you were to beat LeBron in the Eastern Conference Finals, it's big, but I can't compare it to that.
Yeah, I wouldn't compare it to that, but I still think there will be a lot of joy if you can say number 23, the guy who's been
more joy beating the Knicks or beating LeBron.
Oh, I would say the Knicks. I would probably say the Knicks. Now, I would love for Pacers fans who have been here for their entire lives to weigh in on that topic. Maybe that's a good poll to throw out there on the Twitter sphere. But I think they will get more glory and more satisfaction beating the Knicks, especially if, as the Knicks try to defend their title. If you show up and say, you know what, we're the last team to beat you when we were fully healthy. Yeah, you got your little title, but nah, the bully is back. We're gonna put you back in your place.
I still can't believe you said that 20 minutes ago, Mark.
What was that again? What did I say?
You're not getting me to join you there.
Refresh my memory.
And your excuse was you couldn't think of anything else to say.
I honestly did. I just drew a complete blank, and on the radio you want dead air, so I'm like, I better spit out the first thing I think of.
Well, I'm gonna say dead air would have been better than what you uttered.
I don't know what you're talking about. I think you're fine. I think I described it perfectly. Inhaled your chicken Caesar wrap.
Excellent. From Cluster Truck, as always.
Did you eat your cookie yet?
Of course. And now I'm like, am I going to have to do another lunch at some point and then a dinner, or do you think I'm good until I'm a big 5 o'clock dinner guy, by the way.
God, you're such an old man.
I know, but I
think that's fair because our day starts earlier than
so
most.
Early, man. I get hungry earlier.
Like lunch, I'm trying to eat it at like 10:45.
Yeah. I get hungry earlier, and then I just use the kids as an excuse and say, we got to eat by 5. Which, Maddie works a very normal 9 to 5, so she's always like, wait, what? You want to eat right? I just walked in the door.
Maddie, can't we eat now?
I'm
hungry.
Let me set my bag down.
I've had burgers on the grill for the last 5 minutes. Let's go. Let's eat.
I mean, I usually don't eat breakfast in the morning, and then when I get home, I'm like, all right, it's time to eat. And I'm like, you guys want lunch? And I look at the clock, and it's like 10:45. I'm like, oh, never mind.
See, I feel like I'm getting into my old man era because breakfast now is 2 bananas like every day.
Yeah, you are a big banana guy.
Yeah, but I also get the bananas because I'm usually hooping 3 times a week, and I'm like, I can't cramp up. If I cramp up in front of JMV, I'm going to get slandered for being soft.
Yeah, that's an
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I would not want any part of that. Can I share with you a bit of trivia I learned at dinner the other night?
Courtesy of your kids, or?
Yeah, yes, I guess a little bit here. Shout out to Max Bowen, just finished his swim lessons. Are you an Arnie's Pizza guy at all? Either of you?
I've never been. Do you order it? Is it frozen?
Yeah, we have one in Brownsburg, yeah.
Really good za.
Very good.
Square, seriously?
Yeah.
Okay, I got to check it out.
Square pieces, really good. They got more than just pizza, to be clear, but it's a good spot. There's an Arnie's by where Max does his swim lessons, and so we went there to celebrate his swim lessons. And can you give me the number of ways you can make $1 in change? This was the Arnie's trivia question that I saw on the kids menu.
The number of ways you can make $1 in change?
God, I don't want to do
I'm
this
about
kind
to
of
say,
math.
I had no idea, to be clear.
I'm gonna get. I don't know. Like, there's a bunch of ways you can do it. You can have 2 quarters and 50 pennies. Like,
there's one. Okay, there we go.
I'll say 11.
There's one.
I'm shot in the dark. I'll say 11.
It's not 11. It has to be like
11.
Well into
Buffalo
the hundreds.
nickels.
Mark going with 11 and James going in a couple hundred is what you just said, James?
It's got to be well into the hundreds.
James Boyd, intelligence level. Mark Dykton today, intelligence level.
To make $1?
Yes.
To make $1.
Mark, you need 100 pennies to make a way.
I mean, Mark, think about it. You could have, 20 pennies, and then you got to make 80 cents with a bunch of nickels or a bunch of dimes, or
I told you, I don't like doing math this early.
293 ways. James
Okay.
Boyd.
That's disgusting.
Excellent. Excellent. I was trying to help Mark
You
there.
know what? See,
Mark's had a rough
I tried
half
to tell y'all,
hour.
I was a good student in school. I just got in trouble for talking too much, but your boy got A's.
Hey, you got the same report card as Caitlin Clark.
Does not. Well, no, I actually did play well with others. The problem was I played too well with him because I wouldn't shut up.
I feel like Caitlin Clark, all of her technicals are like verbal related.
She had one. Remember the one she got for? Oh no, that was actually a delay of game tech, so that didn't count. She got one for kicking the ball, but that was a delay of game tech. It didn't count for as a personal tech. But yeah, a lot of her stuff is just like impulse control. Like I think that she has like the two devils, or like the devil and the angel on the shoulder, and the devil's winning right now. It's like, don't give in, don't give in. I'm gonna give her a piece of my mind. Like last night, you're up 30.
Like the up 30-point tech, that's a new one on the bingo card.
Yeah.
She's covered a lot of the bingo card in her technicals.
I also loved how
up 30
Kelsey didn't
taunts.
even know she had a tech. And so Kelsey was like, "You got a tech?" And she's like, "Yeah." And Kelsey started laughing. She's like, "It's not funny." And I'm like, "It is kind of funny when Kelsey laughs at it, but I guess it isn't funny if you miss a game."
Pretty good outside of that last night.
Special player.
From the Fever. Let's talk about it. Mark Dykton, let's check it now.
The Morning Checkdown on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
Well, the records were abundant last night inside of Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Most points scored in a half, 70 from the Indiana Fever. They ended the night, actually with about 4 minutes to go in the game. They set the franchise record for points scored. And just to remind everybody, 40-minute game. The final was 123-88. The 35-point win is the second biggest in franchise history. Just an offensive clinic, James, and their all-stars led the way. None of them played in the fourth quarter yet. Caitlin Clark had 27 and 11. Kelsey Mitchell had 23, and Aaliyah Boston had 22. No looking ahead from that all-star trio.
No, they got it done, smashed the Sun, who are one of the worst teams in the league, and now they get a couple of days to, I guess, kind of rest, but they'll be involved with all-star festivities this upcoming weekend in Chicago, and then back at practice, I think, next Sunday, and then they head into second half of the season.
So Friday night for All-Star Weekend, they do a skills competition, right? And
yeah.
Along with the three-point?
Yes.
So I guess
I forget what all the festivities are, but yeah, they only do Friday and Saturday, no Sunday.
I guess what I'm asking, could the Fever be involved in any of the other stuff? Has all the other stuff been announced?
I'm not sure. I'm honestly, Kevin, I probably should check my email more before I get on the show, but I don't think a lot of this stuff has been solidified and announced just yet. I think it could be later today, hopefully.
Always good to check your email before the show.
Well, I check the email to see what we're planning, but I don't check like for Fever PR emails at midnight all the time.
Maybe Mark should check his email to see what he can and can't say on air after his little episode.
I'm all clear so far.
Yeah. Anyway,
Don't you go snitching.
I'm currently trying to look up all the ways to make $1 now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
293.
11 is crazy. I'm not gonna lie.
11,
Like that,
Mark.
I don't know. I would just throw a shot in the dark. I don't know.
I mean, trust me, I struggle at times off the top of my head, but 11?
I didn't even think about it. I gave it no
That's the
thought
problem.
whatsoever.
You gotta think, brother.
No.
Similar to the Cubs' effort yesterday, they lose to the Tigers. Some people were saying the Tigers' uniforms looked awesome. Did they?
They're all right. Yeah, I haven't seen those versions. They're like kind of like the Mets black jerseys back in the day in the Mike Piazza 2000s, kind of like that. So yeah, not too shabby.
Piazza, that's a name I haven't heard in a while. Reds over the Mariners 5-3. Cardinals over the Angels, low-scoring game. Speaking of low-scoring, Indians get another 2-1 victory over Lehigh Valley. They're at home all week long. It's Brickyard 400 weekend. Green flag coming up Sunday, 2 o'clock. Reminder, it is the Oval. It's the third year they've been back on the Oval. Kyle Larson, Bubba Wallace, certainly two notable winners the last couple of years, and the weather looks really good compared to what we've had some years at the Brickyard. And shout out to Dreyer Reinbold Racing. And, unfortunately, we had the tragic passing of Dennis Reinbold there right after the 500. But I think there had been some rumor and some momentum building that Dreyer Reinbold wanted to get back involved in IndyCar on a full-time basis. They had been just an Indy 500 entrant with multiple cars quite often, and had done very well. in the 500 and announced yesterday that they're purchasing one of the charters from Rahal Letterman Racing. So it sounds like the hope is down the road to turn this into a multi-year or a multi-car team here, but love seeing this news. And now I'm super curious who the full-time driver will be because, Connor Daly and Jack Harvey were their riders back in the 500. So very interested to see that news, but shout out to Derek Reinbold and Dreyer and Reinbold Racing for that. Foreign tours for college basketball continue. IU down in Peru, 6 o'clock tonight. Good luck on that YouTube stream to anybody out there. And Purdue, they will head north of the border. We chatted about that with Alan Karpick a little bit earlier in the show. That'll be up on the podcast. A very new look Purdue team getting started.
Can I add one more?
All you.
Patrick Kane, back to the Chicago Blackhawks, 2-year deal. Showtime back in Chicago. That is awesome.
That's a legendary guy right there.
Patrick Kane is where in his career arc at this point?
He's on the back nine.
Okay.
2-year deal seems about right. But it's awesome to see number 88 back in the red.
Man, that was a legendary run he had when they when they won it all. Wow, he's 37, Mark?
Yeah.
Man, I would not have guessed that. Would not have guessed that.
Yeah. So let's see what he can do with Connor Bedard. 2-year deal. Let's go.
Rangers and Wings. That's where you had been previously.
Yep.
Got it. That news item right there. All right, little Colts conversation. What else from the Fever last night? Yes, we do have to talk about one technical away from Caitlin Clark being suspended. We'll do that here coming up. It is the Fan Morning Show. Let's get a weather update on a beautiful Thursday.
We are tracking another beautiful day with partly cloudy skies and a high near 79 degrees this afternoon. And for tonight, mostly clear and quiet. Lows are going to fall into the upper 50s. I'm Fox 59 meteorologist Amber Hardwick for The Fan.
Hey, it's Mark. Back-to-back beautiful starts to the day here in Indianapolis. But those summer temps, oh boy, they're right around the corner. Raising quite a bit next week, looking into the mid-90s some days. So you got to make sure your HVAC system and your air conditioner firing on all cylinders. If you have any concerns, maybe you need a tune-up or a full-blown replacement like I did a few years ago, the folks at Love Heating and Air Conditioning, they can take care of you today. Don't delay. Give them a call, 317-353-2141 or online, love-hvac.com. Talk to a customer service rep. Get someone in your house ahead of those summer temps. They can check out all the products and services they provide, like the Heil system they installed in my home a couple of years back. And if you need to take that next step, they have financial options available. John and Chris love their fourth-generation owners. They'll make sure you're a satisfied customer, just like the Dykton household is. Plus, they've been family-owned and operated for over 100 years. That's how long they've been serving Indianapolis and Central Indiana. We love our Heil system. You will love Heating and Air as well. That number again, 317-353-2141 or online, love-hvac.com.
Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Good Thursday morning. Mark, I've liked the jams today, man.
Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
I can't say you've been on it with everything, but I think you have been on it.
I was a complete idiot. I'm looking at the dollar thing. I'm like, what a moron. That was dumb.
Boy, I wasn't even thinking that, but yeah, the dollar thing. I think James Boyd had quite a hearty laugh about that.
I mean, I love to laugh, and typically it's only like a little giggle here or there. You guys will have a little moment, but yeah, that was true belly laugh because Mark, brother, come on.
I put zero thought into it and I said it, and that's one of those things where you're so embarrassed. I'm like, that's one of those where you're in a community pool and you just want to sink to the bottom and just stay there for a while. I'm just like, you're a moron. You're a dumb idiot.
I think we have. I think we put our What If Summer Series on hiatus. I've really enjoyed it, Mark. I thought it was excellent work by you and that idea, and I felt like we had pretty good feedback from listeners. And honestly, I think we have a few in the tank for next summer. So really enjoyed.
We're getting picked up for season 2?
Wow,
hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess fingers crossed in this industry, right? But that is the hope there. It's interesting. I didn't think the topic would turn into this today, but we got a text here that kind of sparked another what if in my mind. And it's a little bit of a different angle than what we've done on them. I think a lot of them we've gone with, something that happened that wasn't great necessarily, and then turning it into like a good thing in terms of a specific play in the game. James, you've brought up a couple different times here on this Thursday morning, what would the reaction be to Pacers fans if they outstood LeBron James, potentially sent him into retirement in a playoff series, and then went on to win their first title?
Yeah, I mean, that is the stuff of legends.
That's kind of movie script-ish.
Yes.
And I brought up, what the Colts did to Tom Brady in 2006. Obviously, they didn't send him into retirement, but I think the fact that they beat the Patriots and Brady on their way to the Super Bowl just was the absolute, needed, not icing on the cake. It was almost the cake. To many Colts fans, that game meant almost more than the actual Super Bowl did, as weird as that sounds. And, as crazy as that might say to, Mark as a Bears fan there. But we had a text in and goes, "My friends and I have a saying, KB," and this is the quote, "Did I ever tell you about the time Marlon Jackson saved my life?"
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Now that's the what if the other way. Marlon Jackson picks off Tom Brady to ice that game. Now the what if is, what if Marlon doesn't?
Oh boy.
To quote Bob Lamey, what if that doesn't happen?
I can feel the chest pain.
Brady all of a sudden leads that drive in your own building in a game where you were down $1 million and you had this historic comeback and all these things seemingly started to go your way and the ball bounces high and it looks like it's going to be picked off and Reggie Wayne catches it and, Joseph Adai into the end zone and Jeff Saturday this. I mean, what if it ended in the same manner? Because you were nearing, some of those big financial decisions. You had just gotten rid of Edgerrin James. Keeping that core together wasn't necessarily going to be possible for you. You were able to keep it, I think largely intact for the next few years. But can you imagine the pressure on those subsequent playoff runs if it had ended the other way?
Yeah. See, I don't even want to think about that because that right there just gives me like a pit in the stomach. Like if you think of every painful or joyful moment that you had, like truly joyful moment that you had in sports, and you reverse it. Oh no,
Did I ever tell you about the time Marlon Jackson saved my life? I like that. That's very, very good. Mark Teichton, you got a Colts question of the day for us?
Sure. All right. Shane Steichen's record in the AFC South was not great. Not probably like me doing math for change. This is also a season with, quote, higher sense of urgency. So the Colts will do what in the AFC South division this year?
Ooh, okay. So you're asking like where will they finish?
What are we looking at? Are we looking at 500, 3-3? Are we going above 500?
Okay.
What are we talking about here? How are they going to fare in the AFC South?
Ooh. Well, you can already pencil in a loss in Duval County. I'll never pick them to win there, ever. But
Boy, they got to beat Houston.
I know they haven't beat Houston since
they have to be
2022.
I get that we
2023. I'm sorry.
I get we immediately go to Jacksonville, very understandably, of course. But it's 5 straight to Houston, and they're all close games.
Yeah,
I think that's the real mind-numbing part of it. They're all these 4, 3, 7-point games, and so that's where I go first. I just, part of me thinks, can you split Houston and Jacksonville and sweep Tennessee? Is Tennessee going to be better?
Boy, you'd hope so. I mean,
Robert Saleh's over there,
so
I guess he's had some track record of having some success.
I mean, 3-3 is such a cop out.
But we've also seen Shane's record with Jacksonville and Houston.
Is it 2-10? Is that the Texans Jaguars record? That is horrific. Gosh, that's horrific.
Okay, so let's play this game then real quick. So week 3, home against Houston.
I'll say they split each of them.
Okay.
Split Tennessee, split Houston, split Jacksonville.
So you're going 3-3. You copped out.
Okay.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
Boo.
All right.
Walk me through the Colts lately.
Make a
I'm
decision
not copping
here.
out.
Aren't they the king of 500?
I'm going to say they go 2-4 because I think that Houston is going to just kill them because of their defensive line. I want to say they beat Houston, but that defense, boy. And if you're going up against a compromised Daniel Jones, and I say compromised meaning he maybe isn't 100% who he normally is. He'll be healthy, but not 100% of himself. I don't love that. So that's 2 losses there.
I also think CJ Stroud will be better. He looked rough last year, and I can't imagine he's going to replicate that again.
I'm saying, all right. Yeah, I'm saying they lose 2 to Houston, lose 2 to Jacksonville, and beat Tennessee twice.
Boy, if they go 2-4 in the division.
So much for playoffs, I would say.
Oh. I mean, I'm not picking them to make the playoffs. So
no, but
that's an understatement.
This higher sense of urgency. You're going 2-4 in the division.
I know they should have a higher sense of urgency, but that don't mean other teams are just gonna lay down.
I know.
Which again, higher sense of urgency to me has meant too often second semester senior year for the Colts. They found their job during winter break, heading into second semester senior year, and they're at the bars on a Monday. They're at the bars on a Tuesday. They're at the bars on a Wednesday. To quote many of my IU friends that did Kelly, I-Corps was always the big semester. That's what the sense of urgency's got to be.
So Shane Steichen might end 2026 and have a total record in the AFC South of 4-14?
Well, if you're counting the non-Titans games.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a possibility.
Yeah, so it's 2-10 against Jags and Texans.
Okay, so then you're talking 2-18 then. That's
yeah. You say it like that, but
I mean, it's already bad.
Should
if
I
it
have
goes
more
that way,
faith in
good
them?
God.
Football's weird, and I do think that there could be some games that the Colts, flip. But just right now, I don't know why I would believe in them more than I would believe in what I've seen from Houston and Jacksonville in particular.
Now, I will say this about Houston to start the season. They've got Houston week 3 in their own building, right?
Mm-hmm.
Houston starts with Josh Allen and Joe Burrow. Those are 2, obviously, super quality quarterbacks. Now, granted, it's a new head coach in Buffalo. Same, offensive system, of course. And then Cincinnati, I think that is a very much – you want to talk about high sense of urgency here? I'd venture to guess it's the same thing in Cincinnati, if not even more, considering the presence of Joe Burrow and all the questions there. So, boy, Houston's first 3 weeks of the season. Allen, Burrow, and then a road trip here, which, yes, they've won here in all 3 of the Shane Steichen, DeMeco Ryans appearances. But, all these games have been close. I mean, last year, that's where the season really turned. They beat you here I think it was 2016. You guys remember that sequence where I think it was Downs had a potential first down. Didn't Downs drop one on the opposite sideline, if I remember correctly? And then it was a 4th down and the ball, I don't want to call it a 50-50 ball, but it kind of went through Michael Pittman Jr.'s hands, or, maybe Pitt, could have made a play there. And at the time, that just kind of started it. I'm watching the highlight again. Did the adjective Caitlin use, was that the F?
Yes.
Look at the...
Yeah, she said, look at the bleeping scoreboard.
Yeah, you just can't do that.
So that's the unedited version of what went down.
And then she does it a couple more times, and the ref's right there. She's not getting that rescinded, right?
No, I don't think so. I don't think that she really has had many of them rescinded this year. I'd have to go back and see exactly what, but people keep asking me about that, by the way. And for those who are curious, the process usually takes a couple days. And it's my understanding that the Fever pretty much appeal every technical, whether it's Caitlin Clark or somebody else, because why wouldn't you? You might get it rescinded. But yeah, it's a longer process than some people might realize. So basically, what I'm saying is we'll check back in after the All-Star break, and we'll have an answer for you then.
What a stat they just threw up there. The most technical fouls through 3 years of an NBA career.
Is it Caitlin?
First on the list, Angel Reese with 19. Second on the list, Caitlin Clark with 15.
They cannot separate from themselves.
Two peas in a pod.
They're yin and yang, baby.
Fever should trade for Angel Reese. Can't call technicals on everybody, right?
That's almost as good as you saying she should just get the technical last night to be ready for the suspension.
I was somewhat serious about that last night. I said to Maddie, leave Caitlin Clark in for the fourth quarter, get the second technical, and then hopefully the suspension will occur during the All-Star game. And then you're good. And then Tuesday at Seattle when you're coming back, you don't have to worry about it. We'll do it one final time here on a Thursday.
This is the Fan Morning Show with Kevin Bowen and James Boyd.
Well, thanks for being with us here on this Thursday. Had a busy morning recap and historical night for the Fever offensively last night inside of Gamebridge Fieldhouse. It's kind of interesting. Terry brings this up. If Marlon Jackson doesn't get the pick and New England goes on to win the Super Bowl, do they go get Randy Moss, Wes Welker, Dante Stallworth the following year? So was that following season, was that undefeated New England? Was that 2007 Patriots? Was that all the way to David Tyree?
Was it?
I think it was, right? Giants Super Bowls were 07 and 12.
Yeah, that would be correct.
Yeah. That's a good little tentacle off of the what if, Terry. That's good. Obviously, some sourness, some bitterness for New England not getting it done, and they're pushing their chips in. Mark, did you want to go a little live golf? Did I hear that during the break there?
Well, I mean, you're Mr. Live Golf. You live and breathe with this stuff. And I saw that it was trending, and I'm like, what's going on here? Do we have an update on Westfield? No update on Westfield, but an update on the event after Westfield from what we gathered, the season-ending event, highly likely to be canceled, according to a Live Golf, saying there's a 5% chance that it happens out in Michigan. So, yeah, that's not great, I would say, and that probably doesn't bode well for Westfield's event happening. Yeah, I've heard nothing on that, though.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up, Mark. I went to the dentist the other day, and the hygienist, we just made some small talk. Nothing like small talk with the hygienist, as my gums are just being ripped open. But, I'm like, how's the summer going? She's like, oh, I got some kids. I'm like, oh, when do they go back to school? She's like, well, they're in Westfield schools, so we're currently a little up in the air right now if the kids will go back the full first week or only 3 days. I'm like, oh, really? Why? She's like, well, there's this live golf tournament. I think she actually used LIV is how she shared it to me. She goes, there's this LIV golf tournament that if it happens, the kids will not go to school on that Thursday, Friday. So maybe we need to get the Westfield School District children out in front of Live headquarters to picket out there and say, get the money for Live. Get the money for Live Westfield. But in all seriousness, Mark, this seems to be like a real conversation. I know they're this week in England. I want to say they're in New York in a couple weeks, and then they're supposed to be here. James, it's the same day as the joint practice with the Falcons.
Oh, okay.
Which is like, what, a couple thousand yards away from Chatham Hills, which is where Live happens. So will Bryson DeChambeau, will John Rahm be here?
Your favorite. We need like a title card, like something like that, with you just holding up a fist and then Bryson DeChambeau like doing a stomping motion.
Yeah. I think if I'm the maintenance crew at Chatham Hills, you cut down all the heather. Make sure none of that is going to be an issue.
Yeah, Martin Keimer says the $40 million event in Michigan, quote, has a 5% chance of taking place as scheduled after talks on Tuesday.
Well, if it's 5% chance for the week after Live, then that would be Live Westfield. Boy, it sounds like it's very much up in the air.
Mm-hmm. And when are we going to get some finality here?
I know there's a lot of hardworking people in the city of Westfield and in our state affiliated with that tournament, so I will bite my lower lip until we see an announcement. Maybe
start bleeding at some point. Should we be biting down so hard?
Maybe Caitlin Clark can adopt. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Maybe.
But no, in all seriousness, it seems like that is some serious question. To your point, Mark, when will there be finality? Yeah, very much up in the air on that. Boys, I'm going to take the day off tomorrow.
What do we got planned, KB?
R&R. This is it. This is the final weekend. What are we, 6 straight weekends after this, I think?
Oh, yeah.
We got a
busy.
A lot of weekend action.
You need some of that Nas that Jake Query just walked in here with.
Jake Query in studio.
Hello, everyone.
Jake, the sport venue that Indy lacks.
And when you say venue, do you mean like actual venue or event?
Venue isn't the right word necessarily. You can go event, you can go venue, and I want you to think as professional as you would like or as recreational as you would like. Like you've gotten into the game of golf here recently.
Correct.
I've suggested we need a few more par 3 venues. Shorties.
I'd agree with that.
Closed. I hated to see Shorties closed. So anything, people have said a street race for IndyCar. Again, you can shoot for the moon, NHL, MLB, whatever, or you can go as recreational as you'd like.
That is an excellent question. I would say Major League Baseball, except for that in the summertime here, there's enough going on, and we're in too much proximity to everything, right? I'll go with a major thoroughbred horse racing event. And I know we have in Anderson, I know we have in Shelbyville, but like a right here in the heart of the city.
That's one we haven't
Kentucky,
heard.
a Kentucky Derby level. We have great horse race. There's a great heritage and history of it. I look forward to being at the State Fair for it coming up in August, but a Churchill Downs level major one would be
Wait,
pretty
they have
cool.
horse racing at the State Fair?
Yes.
I didn't know
The Pacers are named for the history of Pacer heritage horse racing in Indiana.
I didn't know that either. So I guess I'm going to be trying to see some horse racing soon.
So I think that'd be cool.
So, like, you think the Preakness here?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Boy, now you're onto something.
Like a big one like that would be awesome.
Man.
But I will go back to this, and then I'll leave you guys be. I have always felt that towards, maybe not in my lifetime, but I think it is time to start talking about Indianapolis as part of a regional host venue for the Summer Olympics.
We did bring that up. And that's why I think the Hammond Stadium could be very real. Feel free to expand on that because I'll be all ears coming up. 10-1. Jake Query's got you covered. Thanks, everybody, for listening.